see if this works. God, I love coffee. Holy shit, do I love coffee. Oh, it's like crack. Crack cocaine. Oh, I don't know if I can say that on this stream. Shit. Okay, well, we'll know real quick if I can say that or not. All right. What do we got here? Some hacker news. If you don't have a hacker news tab open at all times while you're working from home or at work from the office, are you really a cybersecurity professional? Probably not. Level up your skills, your game. What's up? What's up, everyone? It was the last day for my kids at school. They're in elementary school, my oldest two. Kudos to them. I wish I had a confetti blaster. Imagine confetti sounds, because they made it through another year in this this day and age, this climate we live in the U.S., where you gotta fight for your life. Free certs, yes. If you're reading the title, I'm not just clickbaiting the shit out of you. It is the last day to get a Microsoft voucher for free. Microsoft certificate voucher. And I thought everybody already knew this because my LinkedIn is... Let me know if I'm talking too loud. A little excited. As you can tell, Microsoft's my jam. I thought everybody knew this, but I posted in Discord and there were people who did not know. I'm like, do you live under a rock? No offense, but you go to the... let me pull it up here in a second. I have to keep my head on a swivel in case something blows up at work. Let me pull it up. AI Skills Fest. Give it a Google. Register right now if you haven't already. It's live. Today's the last day. You have no excuse to not already do it. How can I get it? I will show you how to get it. I just have to sign into it first. Okay. We strongly recommend you add a personal account to your Learn profile. I don't want to do that, Microsoft. I don't want to do that. I have to create a profile because I haven't created my Mad Hat profile yet. Is it gonna let me register? Oh, come on. There we go. I'm creating it on the side here. I'll show it in a second, but let me actually post the link if you guys are following along while I do this. Where does that lead to? My God, that's a tracking link. Okay, let me pull up my Discord. There you go. Post it in chat. Go register right now if you give two shits about getting any Microsoft cert, and if you want to burn $100, by all means, burn your $100. But you could also not and just get it for free. None of us in the Discord have gotten their free vouchers yet, but that's not to say we're not going to get them. They're just taking their sweet ass time to give it to us. I live in the US, yes. Oh, I can skip that. No, I don't want to tell you where I live. You're all set. Continue. Welcome. Can I skip this too? Blech. There's a load of crap. Okay, this is what it is. You were under your rock? Okay, well, let's get you out from under your rock. So, oh, it's gonna make me select the country still, isn't it? Roles of interest. I am a pure security engineer and nothing else. That is all I want to do. Although, actually, architect maybe? No, solutions architect is ass. DevOps, sure, why not? So this is what you see when you register. So if you're not already doing this, go do it. Click the link and go do it. Go get the free cert voucher. There's a lot. Ooh, do I ever want to be a COO? No, I never want to be a chief of anything. Anybody in chat want to be a CEO or a CISO? I actually had, when I was going through, I was so deluded when I was going through college. My head was so far, I mean, if you see my videos, you might already know how far up my ass it was. My head was so far up my ass. I actually thought CISO was like, oh yeah, sure, that sounds cool. And we had a guy talk about how the turnaround rate for a CISO is, and I didn't even look into what goes into being a CISO. Man, I was stupid. Still am, just a little bit less. But anyways, security engineer is fine. Maybe analyst. I already went through this on my personal account. How do I want to learn? I'm a visual learner. I like auditory. Sure, I'll read. Self-paced is good. Do I want to collaborate socially? No, I do not. Do I like live? I think all the lives have already been done, so probably don't. Doesn't really matter what you pick there. Anybody from Bangladesh? That stood out to me. All right. As you can see here, I've got some videos primed that I wanted to go over. More or less, once we go over the AI Skills Fest at Microsoft, I want to see what the job market's like, because I may be dabbling into the job market for research purposes, but also I'm just, the grass might be greener on the other side. And then I've done my 2 years service that I typically do before my brain checks out from work and wants to find something new. All right. Cool. I think I'm all in the clear. All right. This is what you get to once you are done registering. It's already 13th June here. Ooh, it sucks to suck. Are you in India or Europe? Actually, what time is it in Europe? For all of you people in the US, which most of the people that I've seen in my audience analytics, they are from the US. There's still time for you. Head on over. But yeah, if you don't submit this by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on the 12th, you can't submit the form for the voucher. So, Popeyes, KFC, or Church's Chicken? You know what? Actually, I had the worst experience at Chick-fil-A. A couple of reasons. You might not like what I'm about to say, but I don't like being served by a person through the drive-thru. I specifically will go to a drive-thru to avoid interacting with humans. So when I first pulled up to a Chick-fil-A, which we drove 2 hours down south to get to, and we were greeted by someone to take our order, I didn't like that. No, sir. Second, the chicken it's overhyped. Honestly, I'm a KFC. Popeyes, I think I like Popeyes for the taste, but it upsets my stomach. So something they're doing with the Popeyes blend it ain't working. KFC hits it just right. But yeah, if you have your ears getting blasted out because I'm talking into the mic as loud as possible, I apologize. Just go here, AI Skills Navigator. I don't know if it actually makes sense to go through any of these, but you can actually create, I did this. You can go through this AI prompting thing and it'll build out stuff for you. Playlists that make sense. And I had to build out an SC200, which is a security analyst certificate, and then an AZ500 one, and it combined them in this little Frankenstein set of courses that they offer in here. We can also just explore the content that they have in here. There's a lot of things in here, and they're not all actually as long as they say they are. But in order for you to get the voucher, let me see if I can find where that was again. You got, oh, actually, I thought this was interesting. The partners. Wait, did I not register? I did register. Why is it saying I didn't register? Billet. Okay, let me go register again. Join the main stage. Register. I just had to click the button. Is that all I needed to do? Okay, that's all I had to do. I had to press the button. All right. Once you register and click the button, I thought I registered. You can get these playlists, and all you got to do is complete one, just one, singular one. And if you were in the Discord when I posted this, we determined within a very short amount of time that there is this 20-minute one that takes you about 2 minutes to complete. So if you go here, go to accessibilities and practice, you start the playlist, and you go through all these 1-minute videos. If you want to listen to them, you can. Just skip ahead to the end of the video, and then once you complete it, it gives you a pop-up and it lets you submit the form. Easy peasy. Yeah, click the next button through the playlist. Then this progress bar completes. You've done it. But I will say there's stuff in here that you should be, if you don't know anything about Microsoft, you should be doing it. Don't just cheat. You're just cheating yourself. This is free learning resources. And unless you have a sweet gig, what are you doing? And you want to work with Microsoft stuff, study up. It's all free. Hours upon hours of people telling you about AI and how you got to use it. Come on, get with the times. Click on the AI Fest one. I think yeah, that was yeah. My chat is dangerously delayed, and I don't think I've ever figured out how to delay that. Next. Copilot for people who are neurodivergent. I don't know. How can I get CPTS for free? Hack the Box has not had any discounts that I've seen outside of when they released their beginner certificate, which was like a year ago at this point. When was that? Yeah, their junior cert, which I'm pretty sure I made a video about. Do I get hot in the mask? I sure as hell do, but luckily on the bottom floor it's not actually a basement. It is the basement technically, but it's not like, I'm not cramped. So I get all the coolness down here. We got AC. So it works. I've made it far enough in life that I can support myself with AC and be able to wear a mask when it's 80 degrees outside. That's when you know you've made it, when you can wear a mask indoors and still be comfortable. The student plan helps? Yeah, that's true. All right, so unless there's any questions about how to do that, get your voucher. Don't just skip through it all. There's a lot of useful playlists in here. CJCA, yeah. I like living in a cave. The basement life is well suited to me. So, yeah, I don't think there's any questions. There's like a 60-second to 120-second delay in chat, but it's not complicated. If you have questions, join the Discord and you can ask in there. Oh man, you know, nobody knows this about me except my wife. She knows how creepy I am. I'm a big fan of Halloween. Not that this has anything to do with cybersecurity or certificates. As you can see, got the old Jack Skeletor here. I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween growing up. I did once, or tried to once. I tried to go trick-or-treating, and I dressed up as a bum because I was the only thing I could afford. It's tattered clothes. And I got chickened out. I never went. So now that I'm older and I can do whatever the hell I want, I got really obsessed with Halloween decorations, and we got half of my garage full of Halloween decorations. So there's that. Jack Skellington, yeah. You might not know who that is. Malkovich, F-word Microsoft, but... Oh, what cert to use the voucher on? I personally would use it on the SC200. It's an analyst cert. That can get you pretty far. I've seen that asked for tons of times. or an equivalent, if you're going towards an engineer route, AZ 500, which I'm going to, how do they say, YOLO that shit and just try to pass it, just without studying really, because I do a lot of that already. AZ 900, if you're beginning, I guess if you know very little, might as well start with that before you do the 500. But yeah, those are the two that I guess three that I would personally choose. SC 200 is also something you should be able to pass as a beginner. If it overwhelms you, just study more. Quantum Quirks from Twitch. Excited about Cybersec. Aren't we all? Cybersec is where it's at. Try Hack Me course for the time. Either way, you're inspired. That's all I'm here to do is inspire the people. SC300. All right, Morgan. I guess if you're into IAM, which is a standalone career choice. F YouTube. No. We will not F YouTube. That's disgusting. All right, there's this nice gentleman right here. He's gonna tell us what to do if he was looking for a tech job in 2026. And maybe I didn't do this thing. Maybe there's some secret sauce that I haven't learned over the over the 10 years of me applying for jobs everywhere from the start. EJPT is a good first cert if you want to go into red teaming or pen testing. All right, let's go. I'm gonna reduce the desktop audio a bit. What's the deal? You know what the deal is? The deal is there's a free cert. If you go on to the link that I posted, join the Discord if you haven't already if you haven't already found it. I bet people are gonna trickle in there and be like, "What's the deal with the cert?" I should update the titles, but SC200 compared to Security Plus, the Security Plus is entirely different. Everything. Security Plus is just a buzzword salad. And SC200 is Sentinel and Defender salad. It's all Microsoft. All right. So I'm sure you clicked for the Microsoft cert, not for this good gentleman who also has the same mic as me. But let's see what he has to say. Because I'm actually curious, and now if I do this, I can watch it. And if anybody else is curious and they were not willing to dig into it themselves, then they can watch vicariously through the live stream to see how shit the job market really is, or if there's actually hope. And I'll see if there's I'll chime in if anything pops up that's a blatant lie.
I told you that AI hasn't made finding a tech job harder. In a sense, it's actually made it easier. It's easier because AI has exposed something that was always there. Most people want things handed to them. They want the convenient
AI didn't
path.
make it easier.
And now that AI can give everyone a baseline, the portfolio projects, the polished resumes, the leak code solutions, the bar for standing out has dropped to the floor. Here's the paradox. AI made everything easier to do, which means doing a bunch of average things is no longer impressive. You can build a project in a weekend that would have taken months. So can the other 500 people applying for.
That's funny because I'm actually gonna, this spoiler, I'm working on a video where I talk about projects, cybersecurity projects. I haven't made a projects video in over, I think it's been 2 years. And even that one was like a 5 of the most basic ass shit you could do that everybody should be doing but aren't doing and are surprised when I tell them they have to do that. Well, yeah, this guy has a good point. It's gotten worse. Ask AI, as you should, how do I do this? And if you can't even do the bare minimum, of course you're not going to stand out.
The same job. The outliers, they're not competing on that level. They're not smarter than you. They don't have a better pedigree. They just do the uncomfortable, inconvenient work that everybody else avoids. That's the game now. In this video, I'll show you what that game looks like and how you can win it. My name is Steve Huynh. I was a principal engineer at Amazon, where I worked for nearly 20 years. I make content that helps people find jobs and thrive in their career. If you get value from these types of videos, give it a like and subscribe. Here's the first problem. You're building projects that nobody cares about. Got a chatbot.
Yes.
To-do app.
This is like research for my video. This is awesome. Yeah, that's also a huge aspect of which projects you're doing. Like, yeah, something might interest you, but that doesn't mean you should do it. Because if you're doing a project that doesn't do shit for you on your resume, you're kind of just wasting your time. If you're actively looking for a job right now and you're building, and I guess this might relate, but like I tried doing an AI agent to break into my web app. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't think it's going to make you stand out as a security analyst as much as doing an AI flow automation that like automatically investigates alerts versus breaking into things. It might not be the best example, but like obviously pick something that makes sense for the job that you're looking for.
A Titanic survival predictor. Maybe an AI tool you built following a YouTube tutorial. You spent weeks on these things. And they're in your GitHub. They're on your resume.
Damn, those are some nice
completely
visuals.
Invisible. Not because they're bad, but because they're the same as everyone else's. When a hiring manager has seen 500 chatbot projects, yours doesn't register. It's not signal, it's noise. The root cause is that you're optimizing for the wrong thing. You're showcasing skills when you should have been showcasing impact. I can build things is not a differentiator anymore.
I've said that so many times.
AI can build things. The question isn't what you can do, it's whose problem can you solve.
I said this in the last video I posted. Nobody gives a shit if you can build something, if it doesn't actually like tangibly help improve the security of the business or help improve some function in the business that either improves the operation side or the security side. That I thought that might not be obvious. Now that in hindsight, I'm saying that out loud. That's not obvious, but like that's what you should be gearing your project towards. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
You need to stop asking, what can I build? And start asking, whose pain can I alleviate? This week, reach out to 3 people in your network. A friend with a startup, or someone that works in a small business, or a former colleague. Ask
Do you guys
them
have
one
friends?
question. What's the most annoying, repetitive part of your job right now? After you
you guys want to know what the most annoying and repetitive part of my job is right now? Meetings. And you can't automate that. What was his name? Steve? I think his name was Steve.
ask that question, just listen. One of those problems is now your next project. Not a tutorial, not a portfolio.
Actually, you might be able to automate that. I could clone myself technically. That would probably not end well. We're not there yet, but in the future, maybe I could actually automate meetings.
Filler, a real solution for a real person with real
startup.
stakes and a real problem. When you're done, you won't write, I built a chatbot using Python and Flask. You'll write, I reduced manual data entry by 6 hours per week for.
Okay, other than me trolling because meetings suck ass. Something that we did automate actually with an AI SOC agent is triage. You should do that. Any of you watching right now who are trying to get into and I actually see this in job listings. They ask if you have experience with SOC agents, the big ones. There's like 3 or 4 that are really hitting the scene and filling it up. If you can create an AI agent that integrates with a SIM, because don't try with an EDR, that's way more complicated, but with a SIM, especially, I want to build this out. This is something that I want to build out on the Mad Hat Lab site, but it's going to take a lot of work. If you could build an AI SOC agent from scratch, you probably just only need to use Python. Use API calls to access Sentinel and query it, and then it could launch investigations and triage the basic shit, which is what we do at work. That's what we already automated. So all the basic indicators, it's great at doing that. So file hashes, who's affected, what user accounts, do they have any permissions on those accounts that would be worrisome? The malware, try to do like a virus total integration to see what's the reputation. So it immediately gives you all the information within like 5 to 10 minutes of, is this worrisome? And then you can build off of that. That's a good start. So we've done it at work.
A real estate agency. Companies aren't charities. They don't hire people for their knowledge. They hire people to solve
Charities.
problems so they can make more money. Solving
Money.
real problems for someone else
Mr. Krabs
is
puts it.
infinitely
Money.
more valuable than running through a tutorial. There are so many problems to solve in the real world. But nobody thinks this
So
way
many.
because it's easier to have a tutorial handed to you than it is to help someone you know solve a problem that they actually have. Now, maybe you're watching this and you have a job, but you clicked because something isn't
now.
working. You're doing good work, but you're not getting the good ratings.
It's pretty shit
You're
work.
not getting promoted. You're
I'm not-
wondering
I did
if
get
you need
promoted.
to start over somewhere
did.
else. But before you do that, here's what I've seen after nearly 20 years at Amazon and literally working with thousands of people. Most people who feel stuck aren't stuck because of their company. They're stuck because there's a game being played behind closed doors that nobody taught them how to win. Top
What's
Tier
the game?
is a year-long program where me and my team help you figure out
Okay, let's hear him out. He's pushing his stuff on us. Let's see what he has to say. I'm 16. Could I get it? I'm not sure what you get what.
actually holding you back and fix it. We work on visibility, communication, and the stuff that actually moves the needle in promotion panels. This isn't
Sorry.
a course. We
I don't
work
trust
with you
anybody with
directly
braces.
to
I'm
change
sorry.
your career's trajectory. If you're doing the work but not getting the results, I'd love to help. The link is in the description.
He's very
Here's
sincere.
the second problem. You say you're networking, but you're really not. You send a bunch of cold LinkedIn connection requests.
Yeah, let's call out everybody in chat right now. How many of you say you network and you can't get a job and you're full of shit? Huh? I'm looking at you through the computer. Which one of you people say you network and you tried as hard as you could and you still can't get a job? Yeah, sure. Let's see what you actually got to do.
You've told a few friends that you're looking. Maybe you asked someone for a referral one time, but you didn't hear back, and so you moved on. You're putting yourself out there, but you're doing the comfortable version of networking. The version that doesn't require you to feel awkward or get rejected
I
or
hate
follow up
feeling
when someone
awkward.
ignores you. Here's the reality.
Oh, the rejection
60 to
hurts.
70% of jobs are filled through networking and referrals.
What?
A warm introduction
What was
cuts
that?
through you. Here's the reality. 60 to 70% of jobs are filled through networking and referrals.
60 to 70% of jobs are filled through networking. Shit, man. That means that I have to go be personable and I can't just have AI submit job applications for me all day long while I play World of Warcraft. This is some bullshit.
Referrals. A warm introduction cuts through ATS filters and AI screening. It's the one thing that AI can't replicate. A human vouching for another human.
That's
Yet
true.
Most people would rather submit 100 applications into the void than
I
send
would.
10 uncomfortable messages to real
I keep pausing it. I'm sorry, but I read a LinkedIn post, which I actually wanted to scroll through my LinkedIn because it's gotten very interesting. Some people post some interesting shit. Applying to jobs the way I do, the way I have, and the way I've gotten every single one of my remote jobs, by the way, is literally a lottery ticket. Somebody said it on LinkedIn. And I'm like, damn, that's actually very true. Albeit the person who said that was also shilling out for their course boot camp thing where you have to pay and they guarantee you a job. But the point he was making stands. It's like, it literally is like a lottery ticket. And it's kind of fun. The more I apply to jobs, which I've been applying to lately, it's like, oh yeah, maybe this one. I'm like reading through the job description. I'm like, man, this sounds fun. Performing automations, workflows, CI/CD pipelines. I'm like, yes, I want to do that instead of sitting in meetings all day long and talking about this bullshit that I've been talking about for several years now.
people. So do this. Before you apply to any job, go to LinkedIn and search for people that work at that company. Most people will stop there. They
See where
won't
he's
see
going with this?
anybody that they know and then they'll give up. I don't know anybody at Google, but you're not looking for the first order connections. You're looking for second order connections.
Gotta be
people
sneaky
who know
about it.
people you know.
Gotta
Click
slide
on the
into their
profile.
DMs.
Look for mutual connections. When you find one, you have a path. Reach out to your mutual contact and ask for an introduction. Hey, I saw you're connected to Steve at Google. I'm interested in a role there. Would you be comfortable introducing us? I'd love to ask him a few questions about the team. When you get the introduction, don't immediately jump to the referral.
You gotta stalk
That's
him.
too transactional. Ask for advice. What's the team working on?
Yeah, you kind of get, I think people interpret that the wrong way. If you say, hey, Go find people on LinkedIn that work, that are recruiters for the company. And you're just like, hey, I saw this job listing. Forward me to the manager. Like, obviously, they get a lot of that. So what I think he's trying to say is be a little more like, hey, I'm just wanting to start a conversation and see what I can do to improve my odds, and then continue the conversation. And then maybe they like you enough. It is literally still rolling a lottery that a recruiter will respond to you. But what do you got to lose when you're broke and you're looking for a job in this sea of shit that we have to deal with in the job market? It's just one more thing you can be doing. Got to play all the lotteries.
What do they look for in candidates? What's the best way to prepare? What's the tech stack look like? Be genuinely curious. At the end of the conversation, ask if they'd be open to referring you. Most of the time, they'll just say yes.
Seem like a great guy.
You're not a stranger anymore. And many companies pay referral bonuses, so they're incentivized to help. Now your application has a name attached to it. You're not in this pile of 2,000
My name
applicants.
is Steve, programmer.
And if you get ghosted, you can follow up with your referrer, who can message the recruiter internally on your behalf. This takes like 30 minutes longer than clicking the apply button and shooting your resume off.
It does. It takes a long time.
Most people won't do it. They won't look past their first order connections. They won't send the uncomfortable message. They won't follow up. The inconvenience is the advantage. Here's the third problem.
And you know what the biggest disadvantage is when they ask you like 10 questions that are scenario questions, and you don't want to do them because you're just, this is what at least how I feel when I see these. I'm applying to jobs and I'm like mindlessly trying to do it as quick as possible. And they ask me, what would you do in this scenario? Here's a file hash. Break it down. Can you decode this? What does that mean? What would you do in this scenario? And like, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Just read my resume, bro. But you kind of have to at this point because you're just getting so much shit now getting automatically applied to from AI. And if you, this might help. The job that I currently landed had 5-ish questions, maybe 10, I don't remember, that were scenario-based questions that they were using to weed out people who weren't qualified, but also people who could think through shit and weren't just bots and just submitting AI responses. Because we get so many AI responses. We're looking for an incident responder person right now. I don't know if we still are. I'm not the lead on that. But yeah, stuff like that makes these applications better for weeding people out.
You're going wide when you should be going deep. Your resume lists like 50 technologies: React, Node, Python, AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, TypeScript, MongoDB. You know a little bit about a lot of things. HTML? Why not? Just add it to the list. You're a full stack developer. You're versatile, but you're also invisible. When everyone's resume lists the same 50 technologies, you're not standing out. You're blending in. You're competing with every other person who completed the same tutorials and put proficiency with Microsoft Excel on their resume. Here's why this happens. Going wide is convenient. There are endless resources for surface level knowledge. Every technology has tutorials, YouTube videos, courses, Stack Overflow threads, and now AI that can explain the basics instantly. You'll never run out of material. You'll never get stuck. But going deep is the opposite. You run out of hand-holding pretty fast. You have to read through documentation, dig through source code, experiment, break things, and figure it out without a guide. That's really uncomfortable. So most people pivot to learning something new instead of pushing through. Here's exactly what I want you to do next. Pick a technology you already use, something in your stack that you're comfortable with. Now, go find the release notes. Not a tutorial about the basics, the actual release notes for the latest version. Scan for new features and functionality, things that were just added, things most people haven't learned yet because there's no Udemy course on it. Here's the key. You might not even understand what they're talking about. You'll see terms and concepts that don't make sense, features that reference things that you've never even heard of. That's not a problem. That's the actual opportunity. Now you have something specific to learn. Not another generic Python course, not another React for Beginners tutorial. A specific,
he's trying to say learn more
feature that you're gonna understand deeply.
Make
it your goal to understand that feature well enough to implement something with it. Build a small project, write some code.
I think also the issue that you run into when you go through these tutorial purgatories and hells is that if you can't explain what you just did, which I thought, okay, example, I watched a video on YouTube that I thought was very interesting, which you probably wouldn't find interesting because it was relating to how marketing works. And they broke it down into 4 concepts. And I was like, oh man, it makes so much sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I could see why he would say that. And like, I just went through a whole hour. And then at night, when I was lying in bed with my wife and we were talking, I was trying to explain to her how cool it was, but I couldn't remember the 4 concepts because I watched it, but I didn't it didn't stick with me. So now imagine you're doing these labs, these tutorials, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. And then a week later, you can't recall shit that you did, much less in an interview, and you put that on your resume, and it comes up in I don't know if interviews are a problem, but like I've seen too much of that. Like actually learn what you say you learned, and like, dude, go down the rabbit hole.
It actually uses the new functionality. Figure out the edge cases. And then, this is the most important part, create content about what you just learned. Write a blog post, record.
Oh boy, this is a comment that was probably 2 minutes ago. What do they say by what are the people, words? I can't concentrate. Projects, cybersecurity projects. I'm gonna have a video posted I'm working on soon that goes over a bunch of them that you can do. It's not going to go into the weeds, but it'll at least give you an idea of what the hell people are asking for, and ones that actually make you stand out, sort of, and aren't just shit that everybody's doing. And you could just Google cybersecurity projects and you'll find a bunch, but there's some that actually make you stand out and actually matter, ones that are relevant, but you need to make sure you're actually doing them, like I said earlier, projects that will help your resume look better, not just projects that you're interested in. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. That's what people mean by projects. To put on your resume as labs and blah, blah, blah.
A video. Explain it like you're teaching someone else. This does 3 things. First, you gain real depth of knowledge. You're not surface level anymore. You understand something that most people using the technology don't understand yet. You're on the road to being a real expert. Second, explaining something to others is the best way to know that you've actually learned it. If you can't explain it clearly, you don't understand it well enough. Teaching forces you to fill in the gaps of your own knowledge. Third, you're putting yourself out there. You're visible now. Recruiters find people who create quality content. Hiring managers notice when someone has written the definitive post on a new feature that they're trying to implement.
The definitive post. So what this person is saying is you should generate content. Even if it's just your GitHub, which I haven't touched mine, and I'm looking for engineering roles, and I'll probably get laughed at because I haven't done anything on mine. But hey, I'll find something. I always do. Blog posts, LinkedIn posts. Use AI like everybody else. You won't stand out at all. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. What was his point there? Put yourself out there. Oh yeah, make content. I thought it was funny because I am looking for positions, or at least to see what's out there. If I could actually leverage the stuff that I've posted and be like, hey, does any of this look impressive? Meh. Maybe we have a discussion about how I can improve the overall security of your organization.
Implement. You're not just another resume in the pile. You're someone with a body of work. You're building a personal brand.
I haven't done that yet, by the way.
Most people will never do this. They'll wait for the tutorial. They'll wait for someone else to explain it to them. They'll stay surface level because that's where the hand holding is. The release notes are sitting there right now. Nobody is stopping you from reading them. Nobody's stopping you from becoming an expert while everybody else waits. The only thing in your way is the inconvenience of figuring it out without a guide. That inconvenience is your competitive advantage. Here's the 4th problem. You're waiting for someone else to give you experience. You've been applying for months, done the projects, and you've gotten the skills, but every job wants experience, and you can't get experience without the job. It's a classic catch-22. So you keep applying, you keep waiting, and you keep hoping someone will take a chance on you. But here's what most people miss. It's never been easier in the history of humanity to create your own experience. You don't need permission to start a business. You don't need investors. You don't need a co-founder. You need a laptop, A couple $100 and the willingness to figure it out. AI has made this.
I'm pretty sure that I registered my own name as a business for free. I don't think I paid anything. So you don't even necessarily need a couple $100 to start your own business. Just saying. But yeah, his point still stands.
Even more accessible. You can build things faster than ever. But here's the thing. AI is really good at coding, but it's not good enough to make a polished product that people will pay for with a one-shot prompt. There's still a massive gap between AI-generated code and the thing that works well enough that a stranger hands you their credit card. That gap is your opportunity. Here's what makes you an outlier. Getting one customer you don't know to give you $1. Not $1 million, not 1,000 customers. One person, $1.
And if they give you $1, that is all the job experience that you need to claim that you're an expert in whatever you decide you're an expert in because you got someone to give you $1.
Revenue. Doesn't even have to be profit. That's it. That single transaction puts you in a completely different category than everyone else applying for jobs. Here's exactly how you do it if you're in America. Step 1, go form an LLC. There are a ton of places online like LegalZoom. Fill out some forms. In less than an hour, you can have your own company with a tax ID called an EIN. Step 2, open a bank account with that EIN. Walk into a bank or do it online. Get a business checking account with your company's name on it. Step 3, get a Stripe account. Provide your EIN and bank account information. Connect it to whatever you're building. Congratulations! You're now a business owner. You can receive money from customers. Yes, this is super annoying. Yes, there's paperwork and bureaucracy. There are things you don't understand and you're gonna have to Google. If you've gotten this far in the video, you won't be surprised that that's the point.
Yeah, the point behind this entire video is just figure it out. An LLC is a limited liability company. I took multiple business classes and I also registered my own business and had to deal with all the bullshit that's involved with that. An LLC is actually, it limits your liability in the event that you're sued, meaning that it disconnects your business from any liability if something was to go wrong and someone was to sue the company. Whereas a sole proprietorship, which is what a lot of people will do because it's easier, doesn't give you that same, I think the term is corporate veil, where you can't get behind your business in the event that someone sues you. So you get kind of bent over and reamed if you lose a lawsuit. So there's a lot of perks to having an LLC, but there's also a lot of confusion and complications with it. I'm not a business expert by any means, but I have had to jump through the hoops a few times.
Now, use your skills and leverage AI. Build a product that solves a problem for someone. Your goal isn't to build the next unicorn. Your goal is to get this thing to the point where you can get one customer and generate $1 of revenue. This is really inconvenient. You'll have to learn about marketing, about pricing, about what people actually want versus what you think they want, about handling payments and refunds and customer support. But the thing is, you're learning exactly the skills that make you attractive to employers. You're not doing tutorials.
I wouldn't say so.
You're shipping something real with actual.
I think he's leaning into the business side a little bit too much. You don't really need to know business things like marketing or how to stand up. Honestly, you should just know, just because everything that you will ever work for is in and of itself a business that runs under all of those rules. So it's just good to know. I wouldn't necessarily say it makes you a better candidate for a SOC analyst position or even an engineering position. It kind of gives you a more well-rounded thinking for working in a business. But let's see how he wraps this up.
Mistakes. Compare two candidates walking into an interview. Candidate 1 says, here are my side projects. I built a chatbot. I built a to-do app. Here's my GitHub. Candidate 2 says, I'm the founder of Pet Match Pro, an app that helps dog owners find compatible playmates for their pets based on breed, temperament.
I will say, yes, PLC, if you're referring to a programmable logic controller, that's a mouthful. I had a class on it where we talked about how shitty our infrastructure was secured and how there's so many job opportunities. And when I went to go apply for those said job opportunities, none of them were to be found. So yes, I have some background behind that. If you do actually go this far and create your own app and you create your own business and you're like, hey, I did all of this and it did decent, and I programmed this and I set up this entire infrastructure and I had all these customers and blah, 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 blah. Of course that makes you stand out way more than someone who's just done a few labs and they may or may not have a college degree. Someone who's actually stood up their own business is not only going to be able to talk in an interview much more confidently because they have to deal with all the crap, but also just makes them more appealing in general because they kind of get it, if that makes sense.
And location. Now, it only works in Seattle, but we have 50 free users and 12 paying customers generating about $200 a month in revenue. Who would you hire? The second candidate has done something almost no one else has done. They've taken an idea from zero to paying customers. They've dealt with real users, real feedback, real problems. They've demonstrated they can ship something people will pay for. That's not a side project. That's proof. And even if the business doesn't take off, even if you eventually shut it down and take a job, you're walking into interviews with a story nobody else has. Not another person with a GitHub full of tutorial projects. You're a founder. I know looking for a job right now is tough, but it's not impossible. The bar for being an outlier has dropped to the floor because being impressive requires inconvenient work. And most people simply won't do that. But doing that inconvenient work is all it takes to be an outlier. I know you have time because you don't have a job and you're watching this video. If you found this video useful and want another, here's a video I made on how to ship faster without working harder.
Yes, the old next
It'll be
video
especially
trick. Useful
for you if you end up starting that business.
All right, that was kind of interesting. It was useful. Standing out, yeah, that's very important. If you're going that far, you're not trying to get hired by another company. I mean, if you're not getting hired by another company as it is, I've read people were out of work for 6 months to a year. You might as well try. Like, the mindset of not trying is the thing that doesn't make sense to me. I've tried so many different things, and I've not just tried like for a week. I mean, I've spent like a year, 2 years on my e-commerce business before I was working another job while doing it, before I just tapped out. I'm like, nah, this is not gonna work. I'm sick of it. I have to find something else. Yeah, being persistent. But yeah, standing out is kind of the whole point of that video. You need to stand out somehow. Might as well try to build an app and then try to sell it. You push it through Google, through the Play Store. You're still considered your own business owner if you're just pushing it through channels like that. You could even advertise on LinkedIn. It doesn't mean that you're actually putting in as much effort as you might think. Why am I getting a call from Alabama? Who's from Alabama? Anyways, you have to be kidnapped by the company sometimes. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, I was gonna answer that question. I'm not gonna be reading names because I shouldn't be reading the names. I got in trouble that one time. Don't put a project with PLCs if you're applying to a job that doesn't involve PLCs. I've already said this, but if it's not relevant to the job, don't put it on your resume and then submit that resume to the job. It's that simple. I don't know how many of these videos you guys want to watch, but that was kind of interesting. It didn't actually answer any of the questions I had. I already knew kind of all that. You got to stand out. Some of you might not have known, but you got to stand out. 25 years in tech, now laid off. That sucks. Honest advice for junior engineers in a brutal job market. This was posted this year. Brace yourself. Does not that sound fancy? PLC doesn't sound Why do you? Doesn't matter if you sound fancy. What are you trying to say with your It seems like you really want to put PLC on your resume. You can go ahead. It's just going to eat up space and no one's going to care unless you're applying to a job that uses PLCs. We're trying to find out, Mr. Your name, how bad the job market is for everybody who's watching, because I haven't made a job market video in a while. I'm just curious. I haven't done lives in a while either. It's actually been a year. The last live I had on the main channel it had been a year before that because I have been so busy with everything that lives just weren't an option. 3 businesses, bachelor's in business administration, working on a master's in cybersecurity with 6 years. Oh, you got a clearance. Very nice. You only applied to 30 jobs, Dustin? Only 30 jobs? Only? That? What? You think there's a threshold of experience credentials where finding a job is meaningfully easier? Oh yeah. I honestly, John, this is my opinion on the threshold of experience and credentials. It is not necessarily you get more experience in some tech stack. You get more certificates. It's almost like the longer you're in the workforce, you just naturally start to understand how to get a job better and how to network better. And I want to call that wisdom. And even if you try to explain to someone without just like really breaking it down, and it doesn't even get that complicated, but they just still like, they think they get it, but they're not getting it. And there's still people that are applying to 30 jobs and saying they can't land an interview because they only applied to 30 jobs. I think it's more so knowing how to land jobs with your experience that is better than just the experience in the certs. Have I watched Game of Thrones? Of course I watched Game of Thrones. You completed the form? Now you gotta wait. It's a waiting game. You get the voucher after you complete the form. Computer science or computer engineering, BSc for cybersec, whatever you want. Computer science, if you like coding. Computer engineering, I imagine you probably get into like electronics, electrical engineering. You get into, was it logic gates? Or maybe that's PLCs. I had an electrical engineering friend. I haven't talked to him in a while, but that's probably what you'd be doing. Whatever you're most interested in.
I'm a software engineer who's been recently laid off from big tech with over 25 years of experience in the tech industry. So I've been getting a lot of questions and comments from young guys in college who are studying computer science about how to get into the tech industry and whether they should continue pursuing computer science and tech or not. Now, this takes me back to when I was a junior engineer, fresh out of college.
20 years ago.
It was a different world back then. Back then, just showing your sheepskin diploma was enough to get your foot in the door in many.
Was it though? Was it really enough? I'm calling cap on that. That seems like bullshit. But maybe that's why people complain so much, because they're old farts who have been in a job, potentially got laid off, and they're like, my bachelor's doesn't give me a job anymore. It's like, I graduated 6 years ago, but even 10 years ago, I didn't think that was the case. I didn't think you could literally land, although maybe that's why when I was going through my program that took me 10 years to complete, I got the impression that it was enough, because maybe for the longest time it was enough. I don't think it was, though. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Tech companies. I remember I had just accepted and joined a consulting company, and the very first project that they dropped me onto was a CMS site that was about to be launched within a month for a major telecom client. Being a junior developer, I was put onto bug fixing duty almost immediately. There was just one problem though. I didn't know anything about professional software development. Yeah, I have a computer science degree, but that didn't even teach me the basics. Like, for example, how...
I'm sure a lot of you already know, but computer science, I started in college with computer science. That was the major that I picked because cybersecurity wasn't really a thing at the time when I started. It is theory. You can watch tons of videos of people who recently graduated, people who graduated before. It is so much theory that it does not prepare you to actually do the job as far as I understand it. Same as any degree. And that's the problem. But let's see what more he has to say.
Unit tests work, how mocking of data works, how a runtime debugger works. I didn't even know the basics of libraries and dependency management in the Java language.
Nope.
As such,
They don't teach you
I
that.
soon got into the state where defects that I fixed would like fail in higher environments. The squad that I was dropped into was incredibly helpful and understanding. Once I remember this unsupported major minor version bug, I was stuck with this bug for literally hours. Basically, this issue happens when a version of a library that you compiled your code with isn't matching the version of the same library in the runtime environment of that code. But I didn't know that as a junior. So I just kept debugging and debugging. I got to the point where I was like trying to explode this Java library package and looking at the class files inside of that package. Now, the build master on the squad, let's call him Dima. Dima was a really friendly and helpful guy.
They would have a Dima in there.
Who had this curious habit of telling really pessimistic jokes. Oh, and by the way, imagine a build master as a person who did the same tasks as what a modern CI/CD pipeline would do today. So Dima came and asked me how I was doing. So I told Dima, hey man, I'm exploding this library package to figure out this bug. And Dima laughed. He explained to me what this bug was and how to fix it. And then after that, for the entire duration of this project, I became known on the squad as the guy who exploded his package. I had my first go live launch night with that project. I remember staying up with the team until the early hours of the morning, fixing one production launch gating defect after another. I learned from my first tech lead, let's call him Naga, what it means to be a production cowboy. So after around midnight, we sort of hit a lull in this go live where it seems like high severity defects were all squashed. At that point, Dima, the build master, decided to go home. He thought he had enough for the day. But right after he left, we found just a flurry of launch gating defects. And I keenly remember Naga furiously modifying config files on production servers directly, manually, to get this whole thing to work. Now, Naga may not have been the most disciplined software engineer, but he was a fine tech lead and just a great human being. Finally, around 5 a.m. in the morning, all the production bugs were squashed and the site was safely launched. And I remember Naga telling me that morning, hey, the most important thing isn't fixing the bugs. The most important thing is to learn from them and to have fun doing it. It was a crazy time being a junior engineer just starting out. I had this cocktail of emotions.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes in any position. I didn't have, obviously, the coding junior. He's talking from a coding position as his first, but the same thing applies to security analyst, SOC analyst, which is probably the main two roles you get. Maybe if you start in red teaming, you don't understand how big of an issue something is or what to look into until you are sitting there and you actually have to do the thing. Because when you're going through labs or tutorials on your own in your own time, you're like, yeah, this is cool. Let me fix it. I don't really know how to fix it. Like, there's no pressure. Once there's pressure to actually fix something and you feel like you need to fix the thing because your job depends on it, you finally spent all this time, maybe going through college, maybe years of certs, and you finally land it. And then you get in this position where it's kind of on you to figure this out and you just don't understand. If you can't figure it out, you might have a moment like this where you reach out to a senior. Hopefully you have a senior who's understanding and then doesn't just shit on you. It gives you a nickname. But like, that's the fun. Hopefully it's fun and the joy and the things you need to learn when you're just starting out. And I've had a few of those where you won't really get it until you have to sit there and investigate an alert you don't understand or try to configure something you've never configured before. And then you launch it. There's nothing to launch when maybe you're launching like saying something's benign or false positive or true positive. That could be your launch as an analyst. But like as an engineer, when you post something live and it's a security configuration and stuff starts breaking and accounts are getting locked out and then you're just like, oh shit. And there's no longer a peaceful just sitting there like you were in your studies and like, oh, I got to figure this out. No, it's like actually there's people who are now affected and this is a problem. And yeah, if you can't have fun with it, you're not going to make it very long.
Emotions, fear, excitement, anxiety, hope. I had massive imposter syndrome. But at the same time, I had this burning desire to improve, to master my craft and make my way in this world. Over the years, as my career in tech progressed, I always had the support and guidance of leaders and mentors like Naga. So as I rose through the ranks, I tried to pay it forward. I did that by mentoring many junior engineers. And at my most recent employer, I had the privilege of running several summer internship programs. For junior software engineers today, the broader environment that they're launching their careers into could not be more different from the one that I experienced. First, there are just way more engineers on the job market. All of this learn to code stuff from the government, from big tech leaders, from universities, they really produce this huge saturation of engineering graduates. So these junior engineers now face a job market where their college degree is worth astronomically less than what it was a generation ago.
Which is why I say it's not needed. Just saying.
Just get a job in tech, junior engineers now have to compete with practically everybody for the limited pool of entry-level opportunities. They're competing against experienced mid-level engineers, right? Both those that are currently employed and trying to keep on and hold on to their jobs, but also those laid off engineers who are willing to essentially demote themselves and work entry-level jobs. They're competing against offshore engineers who can work for much lower wages. They're competing against senior engineers and architects who are able to develop with much greater productivity given the set of generative AI tools available. And in big tech, they're even competing against data centers filled with GPUs for these slivers of corporate budget. And ironic.
Speaking of GPUs, have any of you seen the NVIDIA engines? Those servers that they want to put on people's properties and they'll cover electricity? I, for one, think that's a good deal. Just saying. You're getting, although electricity is actually not even that expensive. We run a lot of shit and it's only like about $100 a month, maybe 200. Maybe if there's other perks. But yeah, that was funny that they're like, hey, we're instead of doing a server farm, let's just put a server on everybody's house and then there's less noise. It's like an AC unit. It'll all work out.
I'm noticing that these new engineering grads, their knowledge and capability is vastly superior to what I had coming out of college. In a summer internship program that I ran a couple of years ago, there was this one college
intern. The bar keeps getting
This guy literally architected and implemented and deployed a cloud native web application that was useful and used by the company. And after the internship ended, he still didn't get a position. Even though I pushed for him, there just weren't enough entry-level positions. And even when a junior software engineer does get a job, it seems to me that today there's less of a support network for them, and seemingly every incentive to discard them as soon as possible. So it seems to me that the tech industry has somehow evolved into this machine that is willingly wasting the potential of an entire generation of smart and talented engineers. This feels kind of like an injustice to me. You know, my son is STEM inclined. He's a teenager and he just recently pushed his first PRs for a project that he was contributing to.
Nice.
So the question of what to do about this has really been on my mind these days. As such, I want to share some coping strategies to help junior engineers get into tech. With my experience in the industry, each one of these strategies should move the needle at least a little bit. So let's get started.
All right, let's gear up, everybody. He's going to give us the secret sauce. This is how you get a job as a software engineer. Maybe it'll help me. I actually don't think I want to do DevSecOps or DevOps. I've heard nothing but bad things about it. So we'll see.
Be true to yourself. So if you're studying computer science in college and you have a passion and a desire for it, or if you just sort of like it, then keep doing it. But say you are not really interested. Say you don't like it. Maybe
say you're doing it for the money, like I was trying to do it for the money because I played WoW for 2 years. So it made sense that I would try to do something with computers and make money doing things with computers. Don't do that. But let's see what else he has to say.
you even despise it. Then why are you learning computer science?
Right?
If you're doing it because of parents, family expectations, because of all the bonkers money, TikTok videos about the lifestyle,
so much money.
I would urge you to reconsider. If your inner self truly wants to study or pursue something else, please don't betray that inner voice. I've met a lot of people through my career that didn't like computer science at all, but still pursued a career for those external reasons, and it's a source of deep regret. Say you like computer science. Next is to build your eminence. That means while you're still in school,
my eminence?
Try to showcase your work. And by your work, I don't mean like some portfolio of websites that you just built yourself and you're hosting yourself. What I mean is work that is recognized by institutions, companies, and organizations.
Yeah, this is exactly what the other person said and what I've been saying too. It's like it demonstrates your ability to improve a system that they already have in place or secure the system. If you can already, if someone looks at your resume and they're like, oh, this person can clearly do everything that we're doing and could just jump right into it. Like that's how you should approach a resume. Look at a job listing, look at your resume. If you can even have AI do this, say, hey, if I was a recruiter or HR person reading this resume, do you think that the first impression is, oh, I can do everything in this job or close to it or like similarly enough? Can I help the business?
Imagine building software for your university or for a nonprofit organization or contributing meaningful software to a free open source framework, joining meetup groups and giving lectures, joining hackathons and winning those hackathons. These are demonstrations of your eminence that will matter. You want to maximize the value of internships. This is because internships, while being not a guarantee of a full-time offer, is nevertheless astronomically more likely to land you a full-time job than just cold applying to jobs. You can try to get internships by applying to school boards, career fairs.
Why is he getting closer to the camera?
Through your alumni networks
Back
and
up.
through professional networks. If you didn't land
He's too close to the camera.
You should try your hardest to apply for jobs. And what I mean by trying is make sure your resume is professionally reviewed and polished. Make sure to practice those lead code and hacker rank questions and get good at it. Make sure to do mock interviews so that you're used to that interview environment. To maximize your chances of getting a job, try to apply to a broad range of companies, not just tech companies, but also non-tech companies. What you're looking for is a technical software engineering role, right? That role can exist in non-tech companies. And that technical job is what's important for building your experience. If you're not getting any hits for software engineering roles, you should consider applying to adjacent roles. When I say adjacent roles, I mean roles like QA engineer, data engineer, sales engineer, DevOps engineer, and others. And then once you get that adjacent role, you can then gradually move yourself into the software engineering field. Finally, I urge you to be flexible about the nature of the job itself. Suppose you can't get a full-time tech job with a big tech company. You should consider other forms of work, like partnerships, gigs, being a solo entrepreneur and starting your own project, being willing to say move to a different location or even a different country for a similar role. So if you're flexible, you get more opportunities.
Dishwashing engineer.
Be flexible. Be like water, my friends.
Oh yeah, I think it's more or less the same thing on that one. I don't really know if he said anything that actually moves the needle. And yeah, just stand out, apply to jobs that you wouldn't expect. Yeah, like the titles and job listings are word salad. Like, you should not just be looking up security analyst. You should look up information security or just engineer and just look what's in the job description. Sure. I think the other one, starting a business, is probably more useful. A life engineered. Okay. Well, here's the brutal reality of the tech job market. When was this posted? 9 months ago. I don't think he got a job yet. Do you think he got a job? I think I need a breather. I think I need some tavern right now. Man. I live stream, Marcos? No, I don't. Once in a blue moon. Gambling engineer. I bet you make a lot of money. You didn't know that it was hard in the US? Yeah, it's hard to get a job everywhere. I can see, oh, you can't see it. Prime time down there. Right there. Look at him. 1 year, no job. That's funny. I have a couple videos from the prime time himself. He had some things that he talked about AI and how he called it. And I haven't seen them. He posts so much and I don't have time to watch it all. So I don't know if any of you watch them, but we're going to watch them, whether you like it or leave. That is what will happen. I'm not really getting a good gauge though. They obviously didn't pre-watch these, but I was just curious, how bad is it? I've only been applying just like vicariously for a week now. Like spray and pray. I have reached out to a couple of people directly just because I was curious for science, but yeah, it's not looking super bleak. It just kind of looks like it was when I was applying 4 or 5 years ago. How much do I bench? You know, I haven't gone to the gym in far too long. At my peak, I was doing, honestly, not much in bench because you probably can't tell. A little green screen there, but I got orangutan arms. I got freakishly long arms, maybe like this, which is probably the worst hand position I could have done in the history of all. Wow. Anyways, I have long arms, so my bench sucks bad, but 225 is what I was repping at my peak. I didn't go higher than that because I always get these impingements in my shoulder blade and my chest. And I tried fixing form, but I think it was just my lengthy arms. It's just not. It ain't it for me. First SOC analyst interviews in 4 days. Oh, what do you want to prepare for? What you want to prepare for as a SOC analyst is you want to go through first. It's your first. You got to go through all the basic shit. If you don't know what the CIA triad is, my God, you are going to fail that interview, man. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability is the most important thing in an interview. God, I hate that. I hate that so much. I got so sick of covering buzzwords when I was going through college. It started to piss me off. I'm like, this is useless shit. They will ask you about the buzzwords. Memorize all the ports. Memorize scenario-based questions. Scenario-based questions are probably the most important ones that they're going to ask you. Make sure you know something about the company. Those are all the usual interview tips. But yeah, just go through a bunch of videos about interview questions. I even made an interview question for security analysts for scenario questions. Check that out. All right. The German anthem started. Yeah, AI too. They're going to ask you about AI. Honestly, you should... I didn't even think about that. because I have not been in interviews in so long, and we haven't had interviews at work. If you don't know anything about AI and you live under a rock, you're gonna fall flat on your ass in the interview. That is the biggest thing going on right now. How do you you can't see my hand. How do you secure AI is the biggest thing. How do you use AI? What can you do to improve our AI? It's like AI. What can you do with AI? And you can't pretend that it's gonna go away, so you have to embrace it, especially if you want to land a job. So that's my advice on that. Study up. All right. Networking experience? Oh man, yeah, I thought that was a given. We had a guy, I will never forget it. He was interviewing for a security engineer role, and he said, and I quote, I'm not strong with networking. He said his networking skills as an engineer. That is like the most fundamental thing in coding, in cybersecurity. That's like I know how to use a computer, networking. Those are like the two. That's the base. You need to know networking, not like people networking. Like we're talking about the OSI model, yeah. Know it. How do you not know? Anyways, end rant. Let's see what this guy has to say about the brutal reality of the tech job market.
So,
heavy sigh.
this is a video that I hoped I would never have to.
Oh, look at that. He's got a 4060 Ti. Okay, that's not great. I got a 4070, just saying. He got some books. We like to see books. He's got a cat, too. All right, he's a cat person. Respect. I like that. His tower, I think that's a tower. Is that MSI? Meh. There's no, I can't see any glass, so he probably doesn't have any RGB. I'm not liking what I see so far. I don't think I'd pass this guy in the interview.
But I'm feeling very burnt out by the current tech market.
Same.
And I feel like talking about it would be helpful for me, and hopefully, if you're in a similar position out there, maybe some of what I'm gonna say resonates with you, and we can all navigate this tough time together. So I've been actively looking for a job for about 2 months now. I've sent out 100 applications, and I've got 5 responses.
Holy shit. What the heck? What? 5 responses in 100 interviews is good. Those are numbers, guys. He has nothing to complain about right now. Let's see what he has to complain about, because already I'm calling some bullshit.
4 of those responses didn't even lead to a second interview.
What were they?
Got to the first interview. The 1 second interview I did have, I think I just felt a lot of pressure.
Oh no, not pressure.
I ended up screwing up a leak code question that I should have known.
You fucked up.
And
yeah, that's your fault.
In fact, I did know right after the interview was over.
He knew.
I figured out the solution. So I was very frustrated with myself, but I think it's, kind of fair, I guess.
What the hell is that? No purpose? I like the little stick, man. My wife has been wanting me to get a full sleeve because she's like, it would look good, but I've never had the desire to get tattoos. I can't read. It looks French. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it was an on-camera interview and they read that and it says something.
So I didn't get the job on
made
that
him lose
one
it.
Because, when you've got hundreds of people looking for the same job all at the same time and everybody's equally qualified, the person who answers the question under stress is going to get the job, and I can respect that. some of these other companies, though, I mean, man, like they're just the requirements they're asking for these candidates are just honestly unreasonable.
So everybody says, but their bucket lists, they can ask what they want to ask, apply to it anyways. Right? They're shooting their shot just like you're shooting your shot. If they want someone with the CISSP, the OSCP, a bachelor's degree, why not ask for it for an entry-level junior SOC position? Maybe they get it because somebody just got laid off and they get a unicorn and they are willing to accept the pay at $50,000.
This other company that I got a response from, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but again, you could probably figure this out if you've applied there and you've got past the first round, because I think they do this for everybody. But they have like a really lengthy process to get through, even to get to actually talk to someone. They have 3 assessments you have to get past, all right?
Good.
So this was for a Python engineer role. First, you have to do a written assessment, which ended up being like a 10-page essay of 38 questions they asked me in an email, just kind of explaining like my background and experience. But some of the questions in there were not even relevant to me now at all. Like it was asking about, like how I was in high school, like what were my SAT scores like, things like that. And I'm like, I'm pretty far removed from that now, so I don't understand what that has to do with me as a candidate for a programmer now, but I did it anyways because I really need a job, right? So after that, I had to do another Python assessment, which I didn't get any feedback on. It wasn't like hacker rank style where
honestly the lack of feedback when you apply to jobs is the most annoying part of applying for jobs. We're sorry, we decided to move on with other candidates that were better fit for the role. Oh yeah? Because I fit all of the things you asked for. It's like, this is ridiculous. This was a ghost job listing from the start, and we both know it.
The test cases are graded. No, you had to write your own test cases, and there was a multiple choice part as well. So I have no idea how I did.
Probably shit.
The other assessment they had was basically an
He's
IQ
probably
test,
a nice
which
guy.
honestly probably shouldn't even be legal. And I didn't get the
what?
results of that either.
Holy shit. Did he just say IQ test? I have never in my years of doing this had an IQ test. Has anyone had an IQ test done? That's insane. I had a personality test done because, that was after, I can't remember if it was after I got the job or before. It was for an MSP job, but they were probably curious if I was a good cultural fit and if I could be empathetic, which I think I passed that.
Basically an IQ test, which honestly probably shouldn't even be legal. And I didn't get the results of that either. Just nothing. Like they gave me after they rejected
your
me,
IQ
like,
is
a pamphlet
too low.
showing like, were you at
We're
average,
looking for
above average,
savants.
below, but not like a definitive. This is your score.
I Googled this and I thought it was interesting. Have any of you heard it's a myth, and it actually is a myth apparently, that if you are 30 points, if you're talking to someone who's 30 points less or 30 points higher than you in IQ, that it is actually impossible to communicate in a way that they will understand. And whether that's your boss or someone you're trying to explain something to, I've heard that so many places. That's not actually backed by any science that I could find. So I think that's that's bull. That's not true, apparently. But I thought it was interesting. I actually kind of believed it because of how many times I've heard it. I'm like, yeah, I've tried to explain stuff to people and they're just not getting it. I'm like, how many times do I have to reiterate the same point, but just in a slightly different way for you to understand what the fuck I'm saying? I think it's just a stubbornness. It's not just IQ, but you should look up studies. It's interesting. If you're interested in understanding the mind, which you should be, because if you can understand your mind better, then it'll be better in the long run.
So that was a little frustrating. And then after I had already sunk about like 25 hours into doing these assessments, The next day I get an email from the recruiter saying, well, you don't have the experience. It's like, I don't know why you would make someone go through all that if you're going to reject them on their experience outright after you can literally find that in my resume. And one of the things that I've just found to be a very frightening realization navigating all this is just like how disposable you are as an employee at these companies.
You are disposable.
I mean, I'll just share my
That is
own
a sad fact of life.
here. The reason that I'm even navigating the tech market right now in the first place is because I was part of a mass layoff at a big tech company. And, the way that it all happened was our third level manager invited my entire domestic team to a Teams call with HR. So pretty much at that point, I knew I was cooked, because you do not get invitations to meet with your third level manager that say mandatory with HR unless you're cooked. I mean, like, that's just the reality of the situation, but of course you have to go. And then, once we got there, it was very short and to the point. It was, you've been impacted.
I hope I never have to live that experience ever, which is a possibility, because I've been really itching to work for corporate. I just want to know. I worked for a Fortune 500 company, but it was like the bottom barrel. It was bottom of the barrel Fortune 500 company. I mean, it's still massive, right? It's a company you probably would have heard of. And it did give me a lot of insight into enterprise technology stacks and how those operate. Oh, so much mess. It is a massive mess. But like, I want to work for Google. I want to work for Amazon. I want to work for Microsoft just to see what it's like. But yeah, these layoffs are scary. Job security when you're working for a small 10-person team. I don't know if anybody in here has an experience with that versus enterprise. It's so transparent. Like, you will know if you're going to get fired. Like, there's not like you're in the next round of layoffs. No, like, there'll be discussions. There'll be like things that they will say. You will get the sense that you're not going to be invited to all the meetings where like big projects are being done. Even if you go to a mid-size, like 20, 30 people, which is funny because the Fortune 500 company I worked for, we were so lean. We only had about 20 people still that I ever conversed with. But anyways, I want to work for them. I want to experience this, but hopefully I don't get to be on the receiving end of layoffs, because I don't have my backup plan in place.
And here are your resources.
Oh yeah, I would
Do you have
dance.
any questions?
I would dance for sure.
Of course,
I'd dance
nobody
my
has
ass
any
off.
questions, because that's a lot to process, in a split second like that. And it's so surreal to watch, like, this team I had of this great engineering talent across the board, from all levels at my like junior level up to the senior level, just all like that, unemployed. I mean, absolutely crazy experience. And I mean, of course, like the company, I'd say, they try to do their best. They gave us, a severance. It wasn't like we were fired the next day. We had some time to pass on our work that we've been working on for the last, years over to the people who are going to, take over for us. So I guess they don't have to do that, so that's nice of them. But it's just like, wow. I mean, and then, the next day it was international teams that I worked with who were also impacted. So many great engineers that I knew. And I mean, this was only my first job, so this is my whole network, just all unemployed. I mean, absolutely crazy experience. I never.
It sounds like he didn't network with the smartest of the bunch. Skill-ish.
Ever thought that anything like this would even happen to me. But it did. And the truth of the matter is, you need to, I'm not saying don't like put your best effort forward to be qualified and to have skills, but the reality is that none of it had anything to do with anyone's skill set. It was all about business.
Nope.
And
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Unfortunately, because of that, then great engineers and other people I work, other managers, all just got impacted. So I don't know, man. I mean, even right now, I mean, it's been 2 months, so I've had some time to process it, but it's still scary thought that, something like that could even happen. And then the other really crappy.
So far he's kind of talked about his experience, and yeah, you are fully dispensable. That's kind of what he's said so far. This is the thing that I think everybody, I know you can't land a job, and that's the hardest part right now. But once you do land that job, I think people's biggest issue is getting complacent in the job so that they feel like they don't need to level their shit up. And they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. It's easy. And they want me to figure this out. Yeah, sure. I can figure that out easy. But they don't actively, outside of the work that they need to do, pursue improving their abilities and their skills. What happens when you're laid off and all you have to show for it is what you've learned that wasn't much of an improvement from when you started? Unless they're doing a ton of job training, which is possible, and unless you're diving into projects, which is also possible, which is something that's leveling up. That's might not be what most people are doing, but you need to have a backup plan, and the backup plan can either be in a side hustle, which is what I've been pushing for since forever. I've had a side business constantly. It was the e-commerce business before, which I gave up on. Now it's, I guess, kind of this YouTube thing, and that you need to have something beyond a savings, and that can be improving your skills. Learn coding better. Learn engineering if you're doing analyst work. Learn architecting if you're an engineer. Go beyond. And I know it's exhausting, but we're in a time right now where nothing, especially if you're working for mid to enterprise level environments. Why aren't you doing that? How are you so comfortable? I've never been comfortable in any position that I've ever been in, aside from the job I had working for my in-laws. That was the only job where I could do whatever and I'm not going to get fired. So it's what are you doing? Well, you're getting laid off and you can't get these jobs and you're running through your savings. And it's I'm confused. Why has it gotten to this point? And that maybe it might be because I haven't had to deal with these issues myself, but it seems to me there's not really these backup plans in place. It's not just one. Why don't you have 2 backup plans, 3 backup plans? Why don't you have this thought of oh, if shit hits the fan, I'm just going to start a landscaping business? End rant.
Be part to this is that, I can't speak for the more senior people, but for someone like me who's, a junior and they're in their 20s, I have some savings, but I don't really have time to sit here and dwell on this too much. I maybe gave myself a day to kind of mope, and then the next day I was back on LinkedIn. I was on the grind applying. I'm freaking doing leak code, working on my resume, everything, trying to figure out what projects can I do, what certifications can I go get. I mean, that's really how I started the whole SQL 50 thing. Is I'm well, now I need to get prepared for interviews again, so I need to do this. And just the pressure and the grind and the constant rejection, I mean, it all just starts to get pretty overwhelming after a little while. You start to get imposter syndrome because you're out here applying to jobs that you are overqualified for, and you're getting ghosted and rejected. And I mean, really, I guess the reason that I'm even making this video is to say man, not that you don't need to upskill and do everything you can to make yourself
always upskill
the best version of yourself that you can be. However, if you are getting rejected, you are getting ghosted, it's probably not you. unfortunate. I mean, and that's like, I guess, a good and a bad thing, because, you know, I guess you have like some confidence in yourself knowing that, you know, you're doing the right thing. But just, man, it's so sad to know that like this is the state of the market that we're in right now, where you have tons and tons of very qualified people all competing for the same jobs.
That's true. You do.
You know, a lot of it's going to come down to who knew the right person, or just being in the right place at the right time. So
you got to set yourself up to be that person.
I'm not saying don't put forth your best effort, but also recognize that like some of these like rejections or these feelings of imposter syndrome that you're getting. I mean, it's not you. It is just, unfortunately, the state of the market that we're in right now.
It might be you.
Anyways, so I know that probably most of you did not subscribe.
No, Nicholas Fachada. You seem a little bit down on your luck. I wish the best of luck to you, and you're searching for jobs. Make sure you buy a new graphics card, because yours is getting old. But yeah, kind of like to what somebody said, it kind of looks like he just finally got slapped for the first time in the face. I got hit in the nuts right when my e-commerce business was dropping in sales. I was throwing money at advertising. I couldn't get it to work. I could barely float above water, and I had to just find an IT job, an MSP job. And I did. It was very easy to get. Not easy. It was very quick to get an IT job at the time. This was, what was it, 2020? 2021? Yeah. Yep. Well, that was a lot of what I see. It's not anything new. A guy gets laid off. Lots of people are getting laid off, and they have that same sentiment. It's like, yeah, the job market. It's like that quote from Rocky. The world is gonna chew you up and spit you out, and not no one but you are gonna be able to dig yourself out of it and prepare for getting yourself out of it ahead of time. The prepare part's the most important part. And yeah, I just saw a comment saying, "Oh, God forbid." He didn't say God forbid, but have a hobby and have a hobby and fun stuff to do outside of work. It's like, yeah, you could, but then you run the risk of getting canned and not having a backup plan. And you could still have the hobby. People have more time on their hands than they actually seem to understand. As a dad of 4, trying to do my 9 to 5 as a cloud security engineer, which is a mix of cloud security engineering, by the way, and incident response. So we're stuck in meetings, which I'm sure you've heard me complain about, for so long, plus doing YouTube, plus trying to build a website, plus everything else I'm trying to do, plus trying to spend time with my kids, because that's my favorite thing to do. You have a lot of time. So yeah, an hour a day, upskill a little bit, then do your hobby or your fun stuff. This one seemed a little more interesting. The Future of Life Institute. 3 weeks ago. This is a fresher. This is fresh. And it's going to be good when you see Elon in the first second. I don't manage it. I wake up and I go. And then I have work yelling at me. I'm like, all right, something's happening at work. And my wife's like, something's happening with the kids. And I'm like, what do I do? That's my day. Tesla died, broke. What? What do you mean Tesla died? Your Tesla died? I was about to say, Tesla ain't dying. It's not going away. Won't wait anytime soon. Needs a hug more than a job, yeah. Consistent cold emailing. Imagine if you did some warm or hot emailing. That would get you even further. Got some leads in your life. That's like the number one marketing thing and number one thing when you go into business is like, make sure you chase the leads. You got to collect emails. Give me your emails. I want them so I can send you spam and then you won't reply to it. And yeah, it's It's the game of business. New millionaires with SpaceX and AI. There's lots of millionaires, yeah. I don't think people realize all these millionaires popping up with their newfound AI apps. They're doing what anybody could do. They just took the leap of faith, spent so many nights trying to get it done, and they'll toss in a little bit of luck, and it worked out for them. I saw the same thing with crypto. Man, I was into crypto for so long when my brother was, and he made a lot of money, and I was like, I want to make a lot of money. I'm going to look into crypto too. This was when I was going through university. Kids, yes, I have lots of kids. I have 4. They eat up a lot of my time. Try Me certificates versus Hack the Box. What would you choose? Hack the Box. Hack the Box is actually making a name for themselves with their certifications. Try Me just recently started, and it's like, yeah, eventually they will get there, but I think the reputation that they're building through Hack the Box is going light years. Light years is not a very helpful unit of measurement. Hack the Box is making leaps and bounds better than Try Me is. Try Me is getting into some drama. Starting their own business. You know, I want to start this video. I do. But you bring up a good point. Oh yeah, I am rich in my life. Not monetarily. I struggle just like most people. You'd be surprised. I just mean rich in life. The important things that matter in life. I'm rich. But yeah, I thought of, because here's the thing. The place that I work, I might not have ever said this in a video I've never fully fleshed out how we operate. So we operate much like a managed service security provider. But what we do different is that we don't find clients. Clients come to us through our parent company. Our parent company acquires companies, and we're just sitting there like, hey, you want to come with us with our security stack? We'll secure your shit, tie it up in a bow, and you're going to be the value of your company is going to be much higher because we secured your shit. The valuation for your company is going to be worth more because guess what? You guys were a hot garbage mess before we came along, and we built out your entire security tech stack. So we built things from the ground up. We haven't had to do that really for more than 2 or 3 clients since I worked there, but I understand how the business works. I understand how it can start and how we can get to where we are now. That's a lot of work. Starting that type of business is not easy. Finding the clients is the hardest part. So if you could somehow find someone who's going to funnel clients towards you, you could consider doing that if you're a people person. I'm not a people person. I don't know if you can tell that by my mask, but there's a lot of opportunity there because a lot of mid to even small businesses, we're talking 100, not like a mom and pop shop with 2 people, 100 plus to like 500, even 1,000 employees are in such terrible states. They don't have EDR. They don't have any security policies. They're just like the Wild West, hoping shit don't break. It's crazy with the amount of opportunities out there. When you're honest opinion on CRTO and CRTP, malware development, red teaming still worth it? Everything I've heard from all the different YouTubers, all the different articles I've read, all the vulnerability researchers, they're not saying AI is going to eat it up. So I don't know why you'd think it's going away. Red teaming is just going to pivot to the cloud. So I know you don't want to hear about it, but as I build Mad Hat Labs, I'm building, there's fundamentals obviously, but there's also a lot that you wouldn't consider when you're trying to secure it, that from a red teaming operations standpoint, those are, that's my ring. Those are entry points that need securing. And there's a lot of them. especially the bigger your organization gets and the more shit you deploy. So in red teaming, you said the age of the cloud, if you're worried about that, that's just changing, it's moving. And we're also seeing where on-prem servers are actually getting integrated into the cloud. So you're still having these on-prem servers, but they're just connecting them to the cloud, which is an even bigger exposure because that's even more of a mess. And there's even more entry points there to consider that you need a specialized person to be able to do that. I kind of want to work for CrowdStrike, not gonna lie. Yes, it is World of Warcraft music. Elon is corrupt. There's a lot of people on the planet who are very rich and who are potentially corrupt. That is all I will say.
AI is going to take over those jobs like lightning.
Entry-level jobs are vanishing at an alarming rate.
Half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing and 10 to 20% unemployment in the next 1 to 5 years.
The companies that are building AGI, I believe, are doing something that is profoundly against the general human interest. Most people do not want AI systems that are going to replace them. Most people want technological tools that make them better at what they want to do and make things easier and so on. Trillions of dollars are going into AI data centers and building these giant clusters of chips. What leads to trillions of dollars in capital expenditure? Is it curing cancer or solving poverty or climate change? We're all adults here. We know this is not the reason. Is it $20 a month subscriptions? I'm afraid the numbers just don't add up. Is it even better ads? Again, the numbers don't add up. Is it perhaps $1,000 a month subscriptions to businesses to replace expensive human labor with machines? The prize is the $50 trillion labor market. This is the only thing that makes the economics of these vast investments in AI make sense. They have to be working toward replacing a large swath of human labor.
Some jobs will disappear, but a whole bunch of...
Whew, that was a dense first minute. Yeah, that's kind of, they summarized all the concerns that we all have. And yes, that is the point of AI. Agentic AI. Not just the AI that's been around forever. You probably, I don't know. I'm not going to assume what you do and don't know. AI has been around for decades. It's just math. It's just a language model. I'm sure you've watched videos beyond this, but it's the agentic AI part is the intention there is to replace some parts of human roles, like help desk, password resets. But man, have you had to deal with a bot over the phone and it just somehow doesn't do what they're trying to get it to do? Maybe you can't authorize yourself. It just spins endlessly. I've been so annoyed with the bots on phones. It just doesn't seem there, like it's there yet. And it's just surprising because of how many improvements we've had. But yes, that's kind of the point. We'll see. Nobody knows how soon it can actually properly do those roles, but that's the risk of adopting AI.
New jobs are created.
AI agents could automate more than half of U.S. work hours, both manual and cognitive. If millions of people lose work, how will they support themselves?
Unemployment could spike to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years.
So we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before.
Certainly people's predictions about...
Have we, though? There's so many quotes in this. And let me just pull up unemployment rates in the US because I live in Freedom Land. What are I've had this in videos, I'm sure, but let's see. Unemployment rate US. I need like a trend over the years. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. What is this? Huh? Checkmate. Transportation sector, US. This isn't what I want. I think I want tech. This might be strictly in tech. In the tech job market. Let's see. Where were we at? 2026? Yeah, no. Unemployment rates have actually gone down since the peak of COVID. In tech professions has been declining. CS majors. Yeah. Reddit. See? Told you. Oh, it's so quiet. I gotta have tavern music on. The unemployment rate for young workers in tech professions has been declining. As you can see here, by this spoop up in the air, ages 20 to 30. It's actually, whoa, okay. All right. So the youngins are getting affected, but it's not at an all-time high. No. It was higher when I was just out of high school. They're so trustworthy. Man, that's the thing, too. It's like you will bring up statistics and you can't even trust. People are saying you can't trust the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Then who can you trust? Like, you watch a video that says the job market's cooked. You're like, yeah, the job market's cooked. And then you put up this graph and people are like, those are fake stats. What do you want me to do? I just don't understand what you want to see. You just want to be in an echo chamber? I don't know, man. I don't think it's as fried and cooked as they're saying.
What is going to happen if we build AGI for employment are all over the place. The most plausible sets of predictions that I've seen, as you increase the fraction of things that are automated, two things happen. Productivity goes up. You can do lots more by automating things and making them really cheap. And wages go up because you empower people to do lots more things until you hit a certain point where the AI can do almost all of the things that the person can do. Productivity keeps going up.
I always thought the brand name Siemens was funny.
Suddenly greater because you don't have to pay humans to do them anymore, and you just swap out humans for the AI systems. We're going to see big productivity gains and probably wage all of the things that the person can do. Productivity.
You guys see that? It said Siemens. Not a great brand. They missed it on that one. Productivity is high. Wages are low. Boy, this graph, guys. This graph is it's cooked. Look at this. Wages are so low. Who made this graph? Like, this is a graph that you should be like, trustworthy source. It's like, yeah, you don't know where this came from. I could draw this in print and paint. This is some bull. Sources, please.
AI systems. We're going to see big productivity gains and probably wage gains for some people at least. Other people will be displaced, and large inequality between the people who are still making lots of money by running the AI systems at high efficiency and those that kind of get pushed out. As the fraction of tasks becomes near one that AI can do, everybody is going to be in the same boat. We're not going to have economically valuable skills.
Even with.
Do you guys think that once we have robotics to a point where they can actually do things like humans, if there's going to be a help desk center full of robots, what would they need?
AI at its current state, we're pretty close to being able to replace half full jobs.
If we go all the way to AGI or superintelligence, people are not going to get paid very much for doing things that can be done for free by a machine. Is that what we want? Or do we want to choose not to build the things that are going to replace all the people?
There's been a 13% job loss in AI-exposed jobs for young entry-level college workers. Looks like that trend is already continuing.
The situation is pretty dire. The corporate race is going full tilt with more money and intellectual effort being put into building AGI and superintelligence than, frankly, any other human endeavor. Way more than the Manhattan Project, way more than the Apollo Project. Regulation-wise, there is effectively zero. Current US administration is fully staffed with people who want there to be zero regulation on AI. And the US Congress, the only thing that they've been trying to do in terms of AI lawmaking is to prevent states from making any regulation of their own.
Trying to prevent the states from regulating. They paid them a large amount of money.
Huge amounts of money in political ad spending and supporting candidates that are anti-regulation.
They're lobbying to get less AI regulation. There's hardly any regulation as it is, but they want less because they want short-term profits. So in California, they had a very sensible bill where they said that at least what big companies have to do is test things carefully and report the results of their tests. And they didn't even like that.
The investment cycle is proceeding with huge amounts of money being poured into the explicit goal of replacing people in human labor. This has been such a big part of the economy, building these data centers, building the chips, building all of these things. Companies are sort of making the argument that now they're too big to let fail. If we don't go down this crazy AI build-out path, that will by itself start to tank the US economy.
If we don't have AI and robots, we're all going to go bankrupt and we're headed for economic doom.
We're on a bad path with AI, building simulations
Damn, this
and
is well edited.
replacements for human beings. No holds barred, totally ungoverned corporate race. So we're in this race to replace. We're replacing human interaction with human AI interaction. There's a dollar-driven race to AGI.
AI bots are just going to be watching AI slop on YouTube.
To replace human labor. And there's a race for superintelligence in pursuit of power. Whoever wins the race, humanity loses. Currently, we have AI systems that are highly intelligent, but not that autonomous or general. We've got autonomous systems like Roombas that aren't very smart and aren't very general. What we don't have is all three in one system. The reason that is so important is because that's where us humans sit. Once we have AI systems that are autonomous and general and intelligent, we'll have something that we can simply take the human out and slot the AI system in.
AI is on an exponential trend. The amount of computation that goes into the models doubles every 4 months.
AI progress has been going incredibly quickly, up and up and up. And if we just extrapolate another, AI progress has been...
Huh. There's a lot of graphs. I haven't seen this one. Let's see. 100 score in 2023 or other models. Oh, this is only up to Gemini 3. You don't even see how high the score has gotten. Yeah, it's weird they didn't include like 5.5. And then Anthropic, you don't even know. Well, you do. Claude 3 is there. Yeah, this doesn't even include all the latest and greatest models. And it's pointing to 2026. This must have been early. In just the last 6 months, this thing has just shot up.
Going incredibly quickly, up and up and up. And if we just extrapolate another year or two of this progress, these are going to be things that are very competitive, if not superhuman, compared to human experts. The generality and the intelligence are in some level there. What about the autonomy? AI systems are getting autonomous at a very rapid rate. Recently, there was measured to be 10 hours. This is doubling every 6 months or so. In a year or so more, we're going to have a 40-hour work week.
I gotta go back. I'm sorry.
So
Gotta go see that.
What about the autonomy?
There we go. Time horizon of software tasks different LLMs can complete 50% of the time. Task duration. Logistics predicts that AI has 50 chance of succeeding. What is this even saying? Exploit a vulnerable Ethereum smart contract. Oh yeah. I've been meaning to look into how easily, I think I saw a LinkedIn post about it, how easily crypto is going to be able to be broken. Oh, it's quantum computing. That's right. We're not even close without quantum computing. Quantum computing. If you guys haven't looked into that, I think I watched a few videos of it live actually years ago. I'm not super savvy with how that's progressed since then. But man, if you want to look into something interesting, look into the rabbit hole that is quantum computing with generative AI and what that can do.
AI systems are getting autonomous at a very rapid rate. Recently, there was measured to be 10 hours. This is doubling every 6 months or so. In a year or so more, we're going to have a 40-hour work week.
I can't believe that it's doing like day-long tasks now. How did that happen so quickly? And week-long tasks are not super far away.
This is something that you really can start to
so many
slot in
tokens
for a human worker. We can even measure directly, at least for remote work, create a whole new website with these specifications or create a new online dashboard and see how many of these can AI systems just automatically do. Right now, that fraction is relatively low. It's about 5% of all those tasks that AI can do all by itself, but this is growing very rapidly. Once this gets to 10% or 20 or 50%, then what are the companies going to do when they can either send this remote work to a human or they can send it to an AI system and have it back hours later for a 10th or 100th of the price? Obviously, the human workers are going to be out of a job.
What? I don't know about that. AI costs 1% of human labor. Remote knowledge work tasks delivered hours later, 1/100th of the price. I don't know. The rate we're going with tokens. Something that costs a human like a fraction of a minute to do could cost you like $5-10 potentially on how complicated the
are going to be out of a job.
Anything you can do on a computer could be automated.
AI can replace people in lots of jobs. I don't think people have factored in enough the massive social disruption that will cause.
This deliberate creation of human replacements is going to be incredibly disruptive, and at maximum, there's going to be essentially no human work. Human labor value will fall to roughly zero. What sort of world is that? How do people make a living? Where do they have social power if their work, which is the main thing that most people have as a value to the economy, has no value anymore? Since the Stone Age, we've been building tools, the internet, running water, and toilets that work, and all of the things are tools. What we don't like is when our tools have a mind of their own. We want our tools to do what we want them to do and not do something else. The way I think about AGI is not as artificial general intelligence, but it's autonomous general intelligence. It's something that is smart, like a human. It's something that's general. It can do all sorts of different things, which AI can now do. What it's not very much at the moment is autonomous. Most AI systems just sit there until you ask them what to do. They don't run rogue and run amok yet. Autonomous general intelligence, AGI, which companies are very much trying to build, would be things that could operate on their own. They could have their own goals. And that changes things completely. That is not a tool for a human to use. That is more like another being. Am I building this thing to allow a person to do something they couldn't already do, is under their control? Or am I building something that's going to replace a person? If you think about the kind of AI systems we have now, they come in both varieties. Like there are image recognition systems or, a mapping program or something. But we also are building AI systems like an AI therapist or an AI girlfriend or boyfriend. These maybe are empowering.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be. I don't actually know if I'd ever need therapy, but I know it's a thing. But I mean, Claude and Gemini, sure, they're great. They're very supportive, but I don't think we should be using bots to tell people who are mentally unwell what to do to fix their mental unwellness. It can certainly be a good cheerleader, but what?
In a sense, like you couldn't have a therapist or a girlfriend or boyfriend before, now you can have an AI one, so you're empowered. But really, we're replacing people with these systems.
You replace all the human workers in the world. Anything that has economic value, you could use AGI to create it.
With AGI, it gets crystal clear because AGI is defined as something that's autonomously able to do the full range of valuable economic activity. It is something that can do all of the things that a human can do. Why do you want to do exactly all of the things that a human can do? So you can replace the people with the AI systems. This is why there's so much economic drive behind AGI, because it's something that can replace humans. Humans are very, very valuable.
How many times have they said replace humans in this video? Seriously?
Valuable to replace. Everybody's trying to make their AI systems more autonomous. I think this is a bad idea. That's exactly what we should not be doing.
Why the job market is collapsing. Oh, okay. This wasn't like I see. This was just to amp up AI and robotics. Okay. Let's look at somebody who's down to earth, because that just made me want to go punch AI in the face. Oh, that would be so satisfying. The amount of times that I saw a meme about it, and it's funny because when AI first came out, not AI, but LLMs for heavy usage. My wife is calling me. Boop, boop, boop. When it first came out, and there was a video somebody made, it's like, oh wow, this is so cool, thank you, oh yeah, it's great. And then now you just get mad. Why? I told you to fix this, but you didn't fix it. You actually made this thing over here worse. I don't know if anybody else has gotten like actually physically angry with how inconsistent answers are and fixes are. And it's just like, I might as well just done this from scratch, not even bothered. This just took me like 5 times the amount of time when I could have just looked through documentation instead of troubleshooting things that you're breaking in between prompts. So yeah, AI is real fun.
Recruiter advice on LinkedIn. It seems a bit out of touch, you might say. Back to the post. I returned the candidate's call, and his first words shocked me. When I called him, he answered saying, hello? It doesn't seem like you can do anything right anymore when it comes to trying to get a job. Because when we look at the recruiter advice on LinkedIn, it seems a bit out of touch,
so sick
you
of
might say.
recruiters.
Back to the post we were just looking at, apparently a candidate newly active in the job market reached out to him. His LinkedIn profile portrayed a high-level seasoned professional. So when I returned his call from the same number, he answered saying,
recruiters are an unnecessary evil. And I'm sorry if there's a recruiter listening to this, but my God, get off your high horse. You are probably going to get replaced by AI before I do. How about you get your head out of your ass and you know, act like we're both human beings and not act like I'm supposed to just like kiss up to you. I've had to deal with a few recruiters recently. I don't know if you've noticed.
hello. What are you supposed to say when somebody calls you? I've never been able to understand why professionals answer the phone without saying who they are. They never know who's on the other end and how important they might be to their business or their career. I think you answered your own question there, Jamie, because they don't know who is on the other end. Just because they called you and you didn't answer doesn't mean this person knows that you're a real human. You know how many fake recruiters there are on LinkedIn? And certainly...
Oh my God, I still got them. Before I even started applying, I still get calls from people overseas asking if I'm interested in a job. I never pick up my phone at this point. I haven't picked up my phone unless it's in my contacts in years. And they'll leave voicemails and they'll know my name. Mind you, I have tried to scrape all of my information off of the internet. And I've used tools like Incogni and Delete Me. And some have said that actually makes it worse, which maybe it does. And I still get them. Are you interested in this thing? Give me a call back. It's like, no, I'm not. I don't know how you got this number. It's so frustrating.
Not answer with a tone that suggests, how did someone get this number? Honestly, that's how we all feel when recruiters call us. How did you get this number? I didn't sign up for this. State your name. I always say, this is Jamie, and state it in a way that conveys, I'm glad that you called and I'm ready to talk. This could be your first impression with this caller. Stay safe, troop, and hit all 5 points of contact. An entire LinkedIn post just because he called someone back and they said hello, instead of saying their name and everything else. What do you even do anymore? Then we have this recruiter. She crushed the interview. Exemplary answers, great chemistry. And then she sent, thanks for your time. I'm excited about the opportunity. Generic, forgettable, fatal. So you can't even...
What? What are we dealing with here? Oh my God. I wouldn't even want to work for somebody who thought like that.
Send a thank you email after you apply to a job or interview without doing that wrong. But while she was writing pleasantries, another candidate sent this. I've been thinking about your customer churn problem. You lose 3 clients per quarter at $200K each. That's $2.4 million annually. I've attached a 90-day plan to cut that in half. That's pretty smart, but that's just some ChatGPT BS. So you just go to the job application that you're applying to, and you paste it into ChatGPT, and you say, give me a 90-day plan and a nice thank you note that addresses all of their business verticals. And then you end up with something like this, and you just paste that to the company like you care. Someone less polished is solving their problems. If this ChatGPT slop that they did is solving their problems, you got played, Rob. The winner didn't thank them for their time. She showed them what time without her would cost. Not really. She just kind of did some free analysis for them. Most candidates think thank you notes are about manners. Winners know they're about value. This is so ChatGPT, it makes me want to vomit. Everyone on LinkedIn these days is ChatGPT. It has a flow.
Yes, it is.
Tell.
Oh my God. Speaking of LinkedIn, here you go. Hey, look. Is Unix Guy. By the way, I have no control over what's in my feed. Oh, it's Tyler. What's up? All right, let's see if we can find one. Let's see. Who are the usual suspects? Got promoted. Threat Locker. Nice. This is all my feed. What about what's this? No, not that. Man, I always see them too, and I have to click out because they just hurt my brain. Also just screwing them in. This one looks fine. Okay, so this is a bunch of humans right now. This is a good day. It's usually pretty abysmal when I get on here. It's always like, I get so annoyed because I have this complex where it's like, I really hate humble bragging. I hate it. I loathe it so much to the point where it's like, I don't even want to post anything because I'll feel like I'm slightly humble bragging. And it's like, yeah, I want to give people their, pat on their back, but the way that they approach it sometimes, it's like, I made it from nowhere and I had to go through fire to achieve this massive milestone in my life. And it's just like the CC from ISC. I'm sorry. That's a fantastic certification. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. I just can't. I've read so much and it's like, I want to give people props, but it becomes painful, especially when they use AI to write their post. I can't find one. Oh, look, it's John. Yeah.
While I was doing this, they were doing that. Here's another paradox. Here's a problem, but I have the solution. Let me talk about a paradigm shift. It's so predictable now. You can just see it. Stop sending "thank you for the opportunity to interview" and start sending "here's what I've been thinking about since we talked." Why not both? Stop sending "I look forward to the next steps" and start sending "here's my first take on fixing your sales cycle." But they don't even work there yet, Rob. The brutal truth, they don't need your gratitude. We already know that, Rob. Oh, that's corporate.
Oh, boy.
They need their problem solved. That's true. It's about value. And between every hour between interview and offer, those problems get more expensive. Maybe. They might just stay the same. Might just be the same problem.
I should just collect posts like this and just make a video like
Rob. Don't be expecting free
like
work
this
from
person
people just for the opportunity to interview, and then you're telling people they don't need your thank yous. Well, damn, Rob, what are we supposed to do? It's like the other one. You can't say hello when you pick up the phone. You can't send a thank you email unless it contains solutions to their business problems when you don't even work there yet. And then you have this recruiter, Christopher, here saying, you can always tell when a candidate's reading from the screen. The pauses, the perfect phrasing, the eyes doing.
Is this implying that they're using AI? I always thought that was the weirdest thing. Why would you, in this market, if you can actually land an interview, why would you cheat? It's like, you're not going to be able to do the job if they shove someone in, unless it's a role that they think they can skate by for 6 months. I have read some scammy things where it's like they get you the job. They shove someone in there who's not actually qualified to do it. They kind of coast by and they still get, paid, and it's like technically experienced, but then they get the boot because of course they weren't able to actually do the job. I don't get it.
That tiny left to right dance. Interviews can be stressful. However, authenticity is more valuable than AI generated perfection every single time. Well, if you struggle with speaking, or maybe English isn't your native language, or you just had some notes prepared on the side, just take a hike. You can't do that either, okay? You need to be your authentic self. So if you're nervous and don't do really good at interviews, but you're great at the work you do, that preparation is actually being held against you because you're just using AI and trying to cheat when the candidate's definitely reading.
Oh, he's
from
saying the
another's.
opposite. He's saying that you're taking, what? Am I just not understanding that? Take notes. Reading off of notes? Is that what he said?
Say hello when you pick up the phone. You can't send a thank you email unless it contains candidates reading from the screen. The pauses, the perfect phrasing, the eyes doing that tiny left to right dance. Interviews can be stressful. However, authenticity is more valuable than AI generated perfection every single time. Well, if you struggle with speaking, or maybe English isn't your native language, or you just had some notes prepared on the side, just take a hike. You can't do that either, okay?
What? Nobody's saying that. I don't know about this guy anymore, guys. That's not how I interpreted that. It's like, yeah, if you're using, I've seen the videos. People have cheated. So he's saying it's fine. You should be able to avert your eyes, and I don't know. Anyways.
You need to be your authentic self. So if you're nervous and don't do really good at interviews, but
There's
you're
a
great
difference
at the
between
work you
nervous
do,
and reading
that
off of a
preparation is
prompt.
actually being held against you because you're just using AI and trying to cheat when the candidate's definitely reading from another screen. Like, is this supposed to be a roast, Christopher? Because you can see the reflection of text? Who cares? Honestly, they're putting in effort. If they didn't care at all, they wouldn't do anything, and they'd just be like, I don't know.
What do you mean, who cares?
I don't know. People have to remember.
Is this guy oblivious to how the cheating works? He might actually be oblivious. You can set up. You literally, he's being sarcastic. Maybe I'm dense. I'm pretty bad at sarcasm. But if he's not understanding and I'm not understanding, people actually set these up. They're listening and they're actually giving you answers. So if they ask you situational questions and you're reading off of a prompt, yeah, that is concerning. What?
Remember, not every candidate is going to treat the company like it's their own company. They're just working there. So you can't say hello when you answer the phone. That's bad. You got to say exactly who you are every time, even though you might not know.
I think this guy's just roasting LinkedIn. Yeah, maybe my sense of sarcasm is just broken. But I really wanted to get to, I was only going to do this for a couple hours. I really wanted to get to this last one that the prime time had. Because I watched the first like 30 seconds of it, and it sounds like it has to do with what AI is doing, because this is a lot of his ballpark dealing with AI in the coding space. Oh man, I need a breather from reading that. Engineers will prompt their stuff, but like not knowing if it's the minds, when you go into an interview, they're testing you on the mindset. At least that's what they're supposed to be testing you on. That's what my last video was about. You spend all those years going through college, hopefully to develop a mindset, which is not what I did, but that was kind of the point of making the videos. Like, that's what you need to be doing. And then the time you spend as a junior or an entry-level person is developing that mindset to the point where it's like, I didn't understand it, especially more so now when I have to deal with talking to juniors who come with me with questions. And I haven't been in the industry for, I can't say 20 years, so I don't have a right to be like, oh, how did you not know this? It's just like, it's interesting that they don't like make the connections. Like, how do we deal with this? I'm like, well, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could look into this, and kind of like figure out how to figure it out. Like, that is the thing that you develop when you start out. You very quickly will understand how to figure it out, or you will flop and probably not make it very far. So yeah, a lot of Googling, but then just a lot of understanding where to look in this security tool, or look in this section in the logs, or connect that with this, or it's like actually framing the investigation, because I'm mostly dealing with analysts, on what to start looking at, what are the important things to look at, or if you're looking at from a configuration standpoint, how to properly test things to make sure that when it's deployed, it is actually working, which I haven't had to deal with any junior engineers yet. I am technically the junior engineer. We're all just faking it and hoping people don't notice. It's like, yeah, sure, I know how to do that. Oh yeah, it looks like an easy configuration, because you're in the call actually Googling the documentation and you're just skimming it and you're like, yeah, we should be able to do that. Oh yeah, I see here that we can do that. Yeah, oh for sure. I'll put that in today. I'll put a change notice in today for that. All right. Watch the video. Skill searching troubleshooting is more valid. Yeah, definitely is. Oh, wow. Wow, it did go down the shooter, didn't it? Ask me some questions? I suppose you could. This could probably take 2 minutes for it to reach the chat. I won't be able to answer those questions until it hits it. I'll start with the prime time, see what he has to say. I wanted to watch this today. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go live. Because I posted in Discord about the Microsoft thing, and I said if it gets 100 reactions, that I will go live and walk through it. So Discorders, is that? The Mad Hatters delivered 100 emotes, so I had to. But I wanted to watch this today. I tune in every now and then to his live streams. I'm so not a coder, so it always goes over my head. But Primogen is a good watch. And come on, you can't go wrong with the stash.
All right, people, it's time for a passion yapping. I hope that you're buckled in and sitting down, because this is going to be a bit intense. Now, I want you to look right here. Do you see this YouTube video?
Yes.
I'm not going to play that YouTube video because apparently someone has already been DMCA'd for showing any part of it, so I'm not going to have that happen. But here's a quote from that video. Now, it's actually leveled up again to the next abstraction where I don't prompt Claude anymore.
No
Now,
prompting.
What the heck are we talking about? Well, this is Boris from Anthropic, the man who started or created Claude Code, talking about his coding habits. Now, 6 months ago, he
Boris.
uninstalled his IDE, and now he doesn't even prompt Claude anymore, okay? Prompting Claude is the old way we could.
What? Did it freeze? Oh no, Prime. Or is that that might be my internet connection. Oh, no. Oh, it's loading. Stuck loading. Here, I'm going to refresh it. I've had that open for a while. Maybe it's just a connection. Oh, no. Might be my internet. No! Is YouTube... Oh, that... No. What? What happened? I want to watch Prime Time. My Chrome broke on me. All right. Should that cause video loops? I can't even click anything in my Chrome. What happened? What happened, YouTube? All right, let me do this. Let's shut off the window. Let me reboot the whole thing because Chrome is not having a good day. All right, let's go back to the vid. Prime broke my browser. The sheer just awesomeness of his stash was too much for my browser to handle. All right, where'd you go? All them tabs? Seriously? All right, is this going to load or is it going to freeze again? No, it looks like it'll load. All right, let's go back to here. Not that. Wrong one. It's this one. Okay, we're back.
DE, and now he doesn't even or created Claude Code talking about his coding habits. Now, 6 months ago, he uninstalled his IDE, and now he doesn't even prompt Claude anymore, okay? Prompting Claude is the old way we do things. Now, I set a goal, I let it run in a loop, it burns just a cajillion tokens until a win condition is met, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done with it, okay? None of this hand coding, ew, gross. None of this prompting, also ew, and also gross, okay? We loop. And the quote goes on. I have loops that are running. They are the ones that are prompting Claude and kind of figuring out what to do. My job is to write loops. And this is the kind of next transition I think we're going to see in the next few months, maybe through the rest of the year. Now, this quote was said, and everybody, wow, had deep insight, and everybody kind of clapped about it. And if you haven't been following Boris's journey, he's also said phrases a little while back, coding is mostly solved. Now he just says coding is solved, and even more, he says coding is the easy part. The hard part's like infrastructure or hardware or listening to users or getting feedback. Those are the hard parts, but coding, easy peasy, it is solved, lemon squeezy, not a big issue. Now, I take a little bit of issue with that, okay? In fact, I would like to say that I take, well, a lot of bit of issue with that.
Let's
and
see
let me
why.
kind of build up a case, and I'm going to explain to you why I think they're all lying. I think they are all lying to you, and
like that is the biggest. I just don't know. That's the problem I have with the video we watched before. It's like the robots are going to take over. It's like I don't know how. I mean, yeah, they're making leaps and bounds, but everything that I have seen it used for, and I get comments too. They're saying you're thinking about this linearly. You're not thinking about this exponentially because the exponential curve is going to make the AI is just going to exponentially just, you know, and it's coding has been, I think, really the big one that is in the media. Coding will get replaced. Coding is replaced. Coding is already replaced. And I'm not a coder, so I can't speak on that. But from a cybersecurity standpoint, It's not even close. So I mean, it helps, but
I know that's going to kind of ruffle some feathers. Well, first off, you need to see this tweet right here because it's very important as part of this entire concept. This is Anthropic saying, hey, we've greatly accelerated, okay? We are faster. We are stronger. We're better than we've ever been before. In fact, in this last quarter, Q2 2026, we are shipping 8x the amount of code per employee than
how much of that is broken
on
code?
The average before 2025. In other words, they are shipping 2 years worth of code every single quarter for every single employee. Hence the reason why coding is the easy part. Coding is solved, bro. We don't write code no more. Okay, we prompt the prompters. All right, big difference. We write loops.
Prompt the prompters.
We do not code ourselves, review code. It's all done automatically. Hey, me from the future here. So when I say they are lying, what I mean is either A, they are intentionally lying to you, or B, they so believe.
You can tell he had a rough night, and this was really bothering Prime. You can see the the stubble here. He had to make this clarification because this did not sit well with him.
What they say, that even in the face of contrary evidence, they go, nah, I'm correct. I am right. It doesn't, nope, the sky is in fact not blue. No, it's not. Will not accept it.
Like
Tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I am. All right, back to past me. By the way, I get even more passionate, so you're welcome. I have been using Linear lately, and look at this. Okay, I just clicked on a ticket. It loaded. I go back. I go forward. Look at how fast this is. I can drag them between columns. Absolutely creamy, smooth.
Oh, look at
I know,
the GUI.
this is unusual. This is not what you expect from software, but this is some of the best software I've been using, and I use it to track all the things I am working on, and you should too. You should try out Linear at linear.app.
Oh, it's an ad.
To the main
Oh, man.
thesis.
He sold that too good.
I think they are lying.
I need to use Linear
and
now.
I think that they're hurting people. I think they're genuinely hurting people. First off, I get lots of messages about people genuinely worried about the future, and hey, maybe there's no room
So
for
many.
me left. Hey, I think everything's going to be destroyed. People's jobs are becoming this really frustrating experience where they just have people yeeting code into production. There's absolutely no controls because this is what they've been told to do. Run.
When you work from if you're working in code, yes, managers are yeeting code. I can only imagine that. But when you work in cybersecurity, you have to deal with people who want to use AI agents for everything. You don't need an AI agent for everything. There doesn't need to be an automation for your email, Sharon. I don't understand. It's like you have access to the entire employee database and you want to you don't know how this works, but you're insisting on having it. Oh, there's so many problems.
The loops, code the coders, just let it run, let it fly. And so just even on a personal level, people are feeling really burnt out and freaked out. At least that's the general gist that I'm getting from a ton of people. This has not been so good. And a lot of people's well-being
It's a mess.
kind of their outlook in life has actually gone very negative. I think what Anthropic and more specifically Boris is doing is very destructive. Now I know I'm going to get, hey man, Boris, he's a nice guy, okay? Like in person, very, very nice. And you know what?
Listen
I'm sure
to
you're right.
Boris.
In person, humble and
He's
nice.
very nice.
But here's the deal. Humble and nice people can do bad things. Now let me make the case to you why I think that they are lying. And I think it's very, very obvious. So the first thing you need to understand is that Claude Code was released for researchers in February 2025. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Claude Code is a little terminal application in which you can prompt Claude to go and do some agentic work and produce code. All right. Well, within 2 weeks of releasing that, GitHub issue 392, hey, bro, screens flickering. A little bit afterwards, April 11th, 2025, in progress, screens flickering, everybody. And this continues on, 1913, terminal flickering, and there's like so many other issues devoted to terminal flickering. It's almost as if Anthropic thought people needed a little bit more epileptic training so that they can watch their favorite animes. But nonetheless, this is a very well-known issue, and it was reported almost immediately upon research release, meaning that this bug most likely existed not even in 2025, potentially in 2024, while it was all being developed. And
Speaking of bugs in Claude and all the AI agents, I don't know if I can pull it up. I might be able to. Let me see if I can find it. There was a researcher who reported. Was it Claude? Man, I suck at memorizing things. He reported. Oh, it must have been Claude. A vulnerability where you can bypass the paywall for the AI agent and just use it for free. And in the latest release, that was patched and they didn't pay him, them, her, whoever they were. And I don't know if you've seen the videos. There's lots of them with security researchers getting the shaft when they find things and they get treated like hot garbage and not paid. Even if you are paid, treated like garbage. Like, come on, what are we doing here? I'm not going to find it. It's just going to eat too much time. But that happened. I don't remember exactly which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was Claude, but it's such a hot mess when you're trying to deal with all the AI getting put in everything, deal with people asking for AI agents, deal with people who are saying AI is taking over code and has already taken over code. And then you find all these vulnerabilities in them, which is honestly poetic irony.
They actively knew about it is my personal guess. If you used the product at all during that time period, it was so evident. I remember having my own experiences with it, being shocked people even used the product at all. Well, let's fast forward a little bit. They finally respond to it publicly December 17th, 2025. And I quote, "We've rewritten Claude Code's terminal rendering system to reduce flickering by roughly 85%. Now, first off, that's impressive. I have never, ever in my lifetime seen a bug fix that only works 85% of the time. Like, what kind of stochastic process is going on out there? Like, that is insane. And then they go on to explain how difficult it was. They're building a game engine, brothers, to render some text to a terminal. This was said out loud. Couple days later, December 18th, we're rolling back a few changes we shipped to Claude Code this week to make sure things are stable heading into the holidays. In other words, hey, coding is largely solved. Turns out it's not largely solved. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I harping so hard on the screen flickering issue? Of course, being known for like 9 months at that point. Why am I harping so hard on it? Well, here's the thing. Screen flickering, that's a pure software problem. There's no hardware involved in this, okay? There's no, the infrastructure wasn't quite right. The capacity, we just didn't have the capacity for non-flickering terminal experience. No, it's the user feedback. We just didn't have the feedback. We didn't even know users didn't like flickering. No, they knew. They were well aware. They probably even prioritized the flickering, considering they also did a whole rewriting of the rendering system. But ultimately, the first swing, the first rewrite, failed epically, failed right next to Christmas, and they had the poll out. And so, hey, is software largely solved? I'm not buying it currently, but here's the thing, is if the story ended there, maybe we could move on, but it doesn't, okay? March 25th, 2026,
it gets worse.
Now we are officially over a year into first known reported issue on GitHub. Over a year, just let that sink in. Over a year of the terminal flickering. Text characters laid out in a grid couldn't help but to flicker.
I think this really got to
crazy that this is a crazy hard problem. No, this cannot. I refuse to believe that this is that hard of a problem. Well, guess what? It was finally asked, please fix the uncontrollable scrolling/flickering before the next 3,000 features. People were sick of it. And on April 1st, not as a joke, Boris releases no flicker mode for Claude Code. This is that new.
Could you really take someone seriously with that kind of profile picture, though? Man, he just has probably all the job security in the world. Boris is having such a good time being the owner. Not the owner, the developer here. Oh, man.
Rendering that they talk about. It's called Claude Code No Flicker. I believe it takes advantage of alternate screen as opposed to doing this direct print down, because the direct print down does take a little bit more effort to get right, whereas alternate mode, that's like how Vim works, right? It's beautiful. Mwah. I love Vim, okay? Hey, if we're talking about Vim, I could sing some praises about just
use Nano
running of NeoVim. But back to the thing.
Unapologetically.
I want you once again to think about this. This was only 2 months and a little bit of change ago, and they still haven't fixed flickering. It's been over a year, and they have a feature branch or a feature flagged feature in which solves flickering via a completely different path. Now, I want you to think about that. If coding is solved, do you need feature branches? No.
You already said it, but no. I love that meme so much. No. This is what you're dealing with when you want people to integrate AI into your, I want to say pipeline, but into all your things. AI, like Claude, the people who make it and support it, apparently, I don't use Claude that much. I especially don't use Claude code all that much. But you're telling me that flickering hasn't been fixed and it has been an issue for this long? Oh boy.
No, you don't. Somebody's lying to you, because if coding was easy, if coding was solved, no, you don't need that. Who is telling the truth right now? Because it does not seem like Anthropic or Boris is leading you to the correct path.
I think it's all marketing. It has to be all marketing.
I don't know if they're actually actively lying to you, but in my head, I feel like they are. To me, it seems apparent that I think they are liars. Now, lastly, we get all the way up to May 27th with Claude Dev's official account even saying, hey, guess what? First off, I just want to let everybody know, new terminal dropping, right? This is the official Claude Dev account saying, hey, we're doing it. We're dropping the big deal. But even more so, if you scroll a little bit down, you'll see this. Fewer mysterious error messages. They have error messages in a product that they're just like, I don't know. I guess it's not working right now. We're not really sure what the heck's happening. Are you kidding me? Yo, bro, why don't you launch a loop? Why didn't you launch a loop like 6 months ago? Bro, write a loop and fix that. Don't have a mysterious error. Let people know. Oh, whoopsies. Turns out the connection terminated. Would you like to try again, or would you like to start over? Oh, hey, whoopsies. It turns out that you're out of credits. Sorry, you can't continue. Like, there's only so many problems here. Write out the problems and the errors. Loop it. Loop it, brother. Anyways, I say all this because even as I'm confused about this entire thing, Boris even responds to me saying, coding is the easy part. Everything else is not yet solved, but is also becoming increasingly automated. Saying to me, coding is solved. It's the easy part. And yet, during all of this, it just feels like they have an abundance of obvious failures. And
I can kind of see both perspectives. I mean, Mr. Prime here is coming at it from the perspective that coding isn't solved, because you can't say that, because if you try to use AI to fully deploy something, fully code something, if you're just looping endlessly like Boris is apparently, no prompts, letting it finish it, then yes, I guess technically coding has been done. It runs. That doesn't mean it's missing bugs. So maybe it's not solved because to solve coding, it has to be better. I don't know if that's what he's thinking. I will say it is. You can prompt an app. You can prompt it to make an app. You can prompt it to make a lot of things. On the first time, you probably won't get it right. It won't get it right. It'll have to iterate. But you don't have to know how to code to iterate. You just give it errors and all that, and it can fix the things. But there are certain issues that you have to be able to understand code to fully fix. So I think that's two sides of the coins here that we're kind of meeting in the middle, and Mr. Primogen here is venting because he has grounds to vent about Mr. Boris there.
And if you just look at their Claude status, it's like at 98% up. and they're having just errors elevated with this model, errors with this model. Like they're not like, oh, we ran out of capacity. Sorry. Overloaded with requests. No, it's like, bro, we actually, like, there's actual errors. Not only that, but for the last year, you can see GitHub issues, Reddit posts, Hacker News posts saying, okay, I was prompting and it looks like I got somebody else's feedback or I got somebody else's prompt result because I'm getting like a legal document.
That's not good.
There's none of us are talking about legal documents. What the heck's going on, Claude? And there's this whole thing where people are accusing them of leaking other people's session. And I'm not even saying they are or they aren't or that this is some crazy hallucination case, but they can't and don't know how to solve that issue. They don't even really know what's happening with that one because it continues to happen. And so it's like, yes, is coding hard? Sure, coding can be hard. That's okay to say. No, nobody's going to be upset about that. Have we accelerated the rate in which we can produce code? Yes. Have we accelerated the rate in which we could produce more correct code? Do we have tools in which can help people write code? Sure. Yes, beautiful, glorious, knock yourself out. But this idea that everybody should be writing loops, everybody should be spending $10,000 a day on my company, salesman selling his items, and just telling everybody this is the way it should be when they get their tokens free and unlimited, while at the exact same time making demonstrably false claims, drives me bonkers. And I just had to talk about it because they, in my opinion, they're lying to your face. They are peeing on your leg and saying it's raining. I can hear it's raining right now. That's why I said that. Anyways, that's the video. That's what I wanted to say. Hey.
All right. That is annoying. I haven't had to deal with a whole lot of people at my work insisting that we code more and that we accept their code that they made from Gemini or Claude, ChatGPT. But yes, I don't know. It's exhausting. The state of it all is exhausting. You want to use the tools because it does help in some places. You have people who are saying we need to replace people. You have people who are wanting to adopt it in the with the intention of replacing people, which is adding to the fear mongering. Oh man, where's my wow music to calm me down? The stress induces from AI discussions. Boop. All right. Back to maybe I can find that security researcher who just got the shaft when they found the issue with the tokens, because that was an interesting one. There's a lot of things going on in the cybersecurity space, and one of them is obviously a necessity in vulnerability research. And if there's security researchers who are doing it for funsies, just because they want to, just curious and finding stuff, and then they're getting shafted, like what precedent is that setting for the next generation of security researchers who just want to do good and find the bugs, especially if they can get paid to do it? I don't know. Let me see if I can find that security bug patched. I think it was Claude. Man, I should have saved it. It was on LinkedIn, of all places. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's to come of Claude's usage, AI usage. I'm just It's just the rain. Yeah, it's Tom. It's so funny that it. Oh, you guys don't see that. There you go. I opened up LinkedIn and it's just Tom. You guys wanted to know what Tom was doing, right? Made his money and he peaced out. He looks like a happy dude. Now, a copy of him lives in the Mad Hat Discord, as it should. Hack the Gibson? What does that even mean? That's why we need more Black Hat people to show the importance of cybersecurity. I don't think we need more Black Hat people because there's already lots of people who are born and who got a chip on their shoulder as they grow up, and they just go into Black Hat stuff because they think it's okay to screw people over and screw corporations over. And it's like, it's like a morality issue. And sometimes it's like very obvious. No, that guy's a piece of shit. And then other times you're like, well, I kind of see why they're doing it, but it's still illegal. So I get it. There's gray areas for sure. And yeah, job security as well. Yeah. It's Kevin from IT. He can solve all your IT problems. Play the game of Sentinel-1. Oh, is this an AI post? Oh, dang. I thought I got lucky. Self-taught. You love the USA. Don't we all? When I help people, but sometimes they make it hard to look at the DMCA stuff. Yeah. There are a lot of blocks when you're overseas. Hey, it's Ched. Ched's not in here. Kevin from Safe. No. Kevin from IT. Oh yeah, that whole debacle. My computer, this PC. You don't own nothing. Yeah, I don't. Oh. Since I can't talk. My title for my YouTube stream did not update because apparently streaming stuff that I use, I think it's still last day free of Microsoft. So if you don't know what that's about, join the Discord, please. I beg of you, join it. No, it's in there. I posted a news link in the news channel in there. If you're curious, last day, if you live on the East Coast, you still have, what is that? 4 hours to complete the 5-minute thing to get your free voucher. Yes, it's free, 100% free. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. If you live on the West Coast, then you have even more time. So obviously check that out. If you're interested in Microsoft stuff. If you're not, then you can go about your day just like you had been doing. Funny enough, I don't know if any of you have checked out the A1. It's not A1. I got food on the brain. I'm gonna need some A1 sauce in my life right now. AI1. I don't know how I feel about it. AI governance is desperately needed, and I didn't take a look at what it covers, but they wanted me to advertise it, I guess is the word. Promote it. There we go. They wanted me to promote the certificate, and I just don't really have a whole lot of time. I'm trying to build out the Mad Hat Labs site so it's actually useful, but yeah. AISM. I bet that's good. ISACA is, I mean, they got to produce some decent stuff being that big. Yeah, it did end tonight. Today's your last day. AI can never be created enough to completely replace a human in a pen test. See, I am of the opinion, this is my opinion. Think about it logically. Do you actually think, do you think in your heart of hearts that a penetration tester, a red team, maybe, well, let's not make it complicated. A penetration tester is actually, how did you phrase that? Is actually creative when they're doing a pen test engagement? Or are they just going through a checklist that they know they should look at? And if it is a checklist, is that actually being creative? what part, and if ever, and mind you, I am not a red teamer, I'm not a pen tester. I started as a security analyst, moved into security engineering, but I still understand that world a little bit. Do you think that that is, can you replicate that if you give it that same checklist? And you might say, oh, but they've spent so many years and they might be able to connect things that AI won't. But then you also have to think about how, remember when I said AI is going to get exponential? Can't see my motion. It's getting exponentially better so that you can give it more of those connections. Is that actually being creative then? Are penetration testers creative, or have they just learned so much and how to connect the dots so much that that's where they check? Because I don't know about some of you who have been through some pen testing engagements. I've been through several, luckily, because it's very enlightening. They seem to find the same issues in our tech stack. They'll find something in Cloudflare. They'll find some printer that was left and it's unauthenticated, or its default settings are on it, and because they have internal access, they're able to pivot to that. But it's like a lot of the times it's the same things, and it's like, yes, it's good that you found those, but at the same time, is that truly unique? Is that truly creative? Is that actually something that you can't replicate? And I don't want to make it seem that AI can become, as you put it, creative, but it's just more of a thought experiment, because then you got to get down to the root of what creativity really is in penetration testing. Can AI discover some zero-day exploits? Of course it can, yeah. Finding 0 days, granted I haven't found any, what a 0 day is finding something in a service, a system, software that does something it's not supposed to do, and depending on what that thing is, that determines the level of severity that 0 day is. So obviously RCEs, remote code executions, are significantly worse. Local privilege escalation can be bad if someone has access internally on your network, but just like there's levels to it. And yeah, all AI has to be able to do is have access to probe your system, to probe your services, and over enough iterations, if it has a successful thing break and it can test beyond that and then chain that with other things, yes. Which I mean, lots of supposed 0 days have already been found with AI. It's just inevitable with where it's going. Yeah. I'm sure they start out with the low-hanging fruit everywhere, because that's low-hanging fruit are usually the most critical ones, and if you have those, then the script kiddies are coming after you. The automated bots, even before AI was put into them, are going to find you. AI, ALR, low-key ruining the fun of being human. Well, a little bit. It is ruining being human a little bit, but it also is making me want to go not be on the computer. So. Through his experience in SOC, energy sector. Yeah. I don't think I will find a whole lot of fun. Get push. You know, people add me on LinkedIn or follow me, and then they'll request to connect, and I accept everybody. It's a super small account. Nobody knows I'm on LinkedIn. I don't post a whole lot on LinkedIn. But basically, everybody who I've connected with, that's what LinkedIn determined my feed should be. I very rarely will engage with anything, and it's interesting what pops up in here. A half-naked old man. Wait, what? For the last 5 years, installing the wrong piece of software could send me to prison. That's clickbaity. Oh man, all the things we did as kids when those things should have sent us to jail, but nobody found out about them because we didn't do anything bad enough to launch an investigation. Yeah. Remember those? Remember those days? All right. Well, it's getting to that time again. I didn't think I'd be on this long. Join the Discord if you wanna. Check out the Microsoft AI Skills Fest because free. That's why. And yeah, I'm gonna hop off here. It was nice chatting with everybody. I don't feel better about the job market at all, but I'm also not in a bad spot like some people are. So I'm just gonna keep doing stuff for funsies. If you guys want more streaming, I don't know, post in the Discord. Maybe I'll consider it because I don't feel like I'm much of a streamer. More of a spastic editor. I like the spazzy editing. I don't know. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's been fun. Have a happy Friday and a happy weekend.